What's going on, people? Welcome to Throwdown, episode 105. I'm your host, Tony Polanco, and I'm joined by Emilio Lopez.
We are VR.
Chris Seeley.
Hey, what's up, everyone?
Carlos Romero.
Yo.
Adam Vale.
I like me some wrestling.
And joining us tonight, Mr. Richard Bailey Jr.
Yeah, what's up, everybody?
Yeah. Tonight's gonna be a crazy show. Like I was telling you guys, like before we started, it's like I've had a comedy. Guys, I'm like, let's not talk about that right now. Save it for the show. It's gonna be crazy. Brett will join us in about 20 minutes. We're gonna switch up the topics a little bit. We're gonna do VR first and then Gear. So we're gonna talk about Gear.
Wait, you flipped it. We're gonna talk about Gears of War first.
Yes, that's
then
what I said.
VR.
Yeah,
no, you
exactly.
said VR first.
Yes.
No, we were gonna do VR first. You ain't listening because we eating that pizza.
No, I sort of heard that too. I know what you mean though. That when he gets on, then we'll talk
before
VR.
we do that, we gotta do some little bit of house cleaning around here. All right, so we want to give everybody that listened to last couple of days episodes of Throwdown your questions. Man, we got a lot of response to that first hour of the show when we were talking about diversity and shit. With Brett, a lot of people thought Brett was tripping, so we're gonna address that on this Sunday's episode. We're not gonna talk about that shit here, but thank you for all the comments. We got like 1,000 fucking hits off that shit. Crazy, because the thing is, even when I was there, I was engaged by it. But I was like, yo, are the fans even gonna be okay with all this shit? Because we're getting really deep into like politics and shit, and that's not really what we do around Throwdown. But everybody liked it, and everybody had comments. So thank you all for the support as always.
People are heated with this whole fucking debate. That's why people.
I think
you're right, man.
I think the thing about it is that you can't really it'll show up.
Yeah.
With all the different things that are happening within the media, it's these things will definitely make their way into the show.
Yeah, especially this year. This year is on a whole other level, so I don't think even throwing as hard as we try to not bring this sort of stuff up, it's gonna creep up. It just happens. But yeah, so we'll do a little bit of follow up because again, a lot of you guys and pretty much everybody on this podcast was like, "What is up with Brett right now?" We didn't, what I'm saying, but we'll discuss that further. Another thing, as we always do, we're gonna have another contest for you, courtesy of Mr. Adam. So Adam, what are we giving away this time?
It's a combination. It's myself and my other buddy, Quiet Storm 21A, over on my Xbox, and we're giving away some Gears of War codes. Not four, but all the other ones. We got Gears 1, 2, 3, Judgment, and so we got a bunch of these codes. So if you guys want them, say something in the chat, and we just pick them at random. Start posting them up.
So this is for the dudes in the chat right now.
Yep.
Kristen, she'll probably pop up there in a little bit. She can help us with that and stuff. So I don't know, just say witty shit. We'll pick somebody up.
Oh, and just so you know, they're all backward compatible. So when you get this code, if you have an X1, you can play it on there. It's not like, this only works on the 360. So you'll be good.
Adam, you getting cold over there, man?
I'm getting cold.
Yeah. No. By the way, because this is actually how I got my Gears of War games too. I just had codes. I put them on Xbox One. And they worked, so you're good. So we got you covered. Hey, I want to give a quick shout out to my nephew Christian, who's in the chat right now. What's going on, brother?
Yo.
Big now.
All right.
It's all about family.
We still have the book giveaways, but we'll do that for next week. We'll do this Gears of War shit. Okay, we actually have some contest winners, by the way. Speaking about contests here, so Jerry Burns. He won the print, the Metal Gear Solid print. Manny, I sent you his address, so I guess you ship that to him.
Yeah, I'll ship it out to him. Just have a couple of things to do, but yeah, I'm gonna have that out soon.
Yeah, and I also want to give a shout out to Davin on Twitter, who correctly guessed that Adam's favorite Gears of War game is Gears of War 3.
Interesting.
So
I got a fun story.
Why
with
is
that
that
one.
your favorite?
Oh well, big Gears of War fan, and a bunch of us, including that guy I just mentioned, Quiet Storm, we were like, when Gears 3 comes out, day one, we're getting it, we're calling out of work, we're going to play it through, legendary first night, and that's what we did. All four of us, midnight, we went to launch, we got the game, we got home, we're like, we're ready, we all logged in, we played, we did the whole game, co-op, 4-player, on a legendary difficulty, and we beat it.
Nice.
We finished that at like 8 in the morning the next day. But I mean, one of the guys even fell asleep, and we heard him snoring, and we were like, "Yo, wake up, wake up!" But the good thing with the game is that it'll just keep pushing the other person forward. You wouldn't get stuck. But that's it. Good. And it was a great experience because it's something. I mean, times it's hard when you have a family and you have work, and also it's hard to find time to do those type of big co-op experiences. And games like that, and Gears, and a few others. Those are the ones that you want to have that experience with your buddies. I think that's why Call of Duty is so successful because, the whole clan thing, like, oh yeah, take that serious. Well, I don't know if it's that serious about the competition, but it's more about like, if you have a clan of buddies that you play with, it's like, oh, let's all get back together. Let's run around the map. Because most of the time when I'm playing COD with my buddies, we're talking shit. We're not even paying attention. We're talking about the babes, we're talking about, work and kids, all this other bullshit, and we're just popping people in the face and stuff. It's just, one of those type of co-op experiences. And that was one of my best ones.
But what about like the actual game? Like,
I don't know.
Why do you think? Yeah,
it was great. It was fun. It was fun to play. It was fun to play that with everybody. We all experienced a story. Great story. It was epic. They always have those big epic endings. And it was fun. And we tried to do it actually. We tried to replicate that and do that with 4, and 4 kept glitching on us and having all kinds of problems. And then we're like, all right, forget it. And then I haven't even bothered with 5. I own it. I just haven't played it.
That's
but yeah.
Crazy. Yeah, it's funny. I actually just beat Gears of War 3 last week, or was it actually, it was this week. It's crazy how time's just compressing now, Yeah, I'm still like on the fence, like about which one is objectively the better Gears of War game, like 2 or 3. But personally, I still like that first one more, man.
First one.
Yeah, I like the first one the most too.
It's survival horror and a different environment that you didn't expect. It threw in a wrench in that whole genre. I was like, with the roadie run, that roadie run is sick. I mean, I remember the first time running, I'm like, I want to just run in circles. This is so cool. That camera shaking and stuff. I mean, it's like, I'm playing like, you beat 4 and I'm playing through it. And
yeah, we're going to talk about that in a bit.
All right, so I'll hold off.
Yeah, hold it off for a little bit. Now, okay, another cool thing. Now we could officially talk about this shit. Manny, what you got, man? BioShock.
Yes, BioShock. If you guys remember a couple of episodes ago, Adam kind of let it slip a little bit. But yes, I was doing
breaking embargo.
Yes, I have. I had an NDA and everything, so that's why I said I don't know what you're talking about.
No.
Anyway. I'm working on. I actually finished off these 3 like BioShock related like covers. They're supposed to look like old vintage covers. So, we just showed BioShock 1 today. BioShock 2 dropped, and then on Friday BioShock Infinite, and all of them are done in like these kind of fun, like the kind of a fun old school style. It was a really cool thing. How I actually got the job was pretty cool. A friend of mine who worked at Konami UK, Konami UK or Konami Europe, he actually moved on to 2K Games, and he's like, hey, I was actually involved with this thing called the what do they call that? It was the Phantom Limb Project, which was they were doing this for Konami. They were doing this thing where it was like they were paying to have this prosthetic arm company make a prosthetic arm, kind of Metal Gear-esque, for this guy who lost his arm on a train accident. Anyway, I was doing some like logos and stuff for it. It didn't fully work out, and so he's like, hey, maybe we'll work together again. So then when he moved to 2K, he's like, hey, dude, do you want to do some stuff for us? Some promotional BioShock stuff. I'm like, oh yeah, I do. So that's what happened. So yeah, it's a cool stuff. So make sure you keep an eye out on BioShock's the BioShock Twitter, the Irrational Games Twitter, and the 2K Twitter, or mine, and you'll see the really cool things that I got to do for them.
Yeah, man, I'm glad we could finally talk about that stuff.
Yeah, it took a little while. Which the one thing about the project, it wasn't time sensitive. Like it wasn't they weren't waiting. We weren't waiting for the game to come out or anything like that. So they were just like, hey, just get them done when you can get them done, and then we'll start posting them up and stuff. So it's all good.
pretty cool stuff. And then go ahead, man.
No, I was just we'll talk about the other stuff I had to say later.
Yo, man, you got stuff to say, man.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, by the way, okay, and a quick thing. This just happened like an hour or so before we went live. So the same developer for Titanfall, who posted that controversial picture of the PS2 Titanfall, posted a final one of the Xbox One.
Somebody's trolling a little bit at that point.
Yeah, if you look at my profile, I actually made that my avatar now. Let's see if anyone's gonna get triggered off of that shit. Motherfuckers.
It's not like the damn game is being, it's not going to be on the on the Xbox. It's going to be on there.
Yeah, but you know how it is. They lost the war. That's what the problem is. But anyway,
I feel bad for them though. They're in such a tough spot, just release wise. Titanfall itself, we all know the story, the whole thing of the guys leaving from Activision because they weren't getting paid, and then starting their own studio and all this stuff. But now it looks like this might really hurt them. Unless Titanfall just kills with the reviews, I see it slipping through the cracks when it comes to buying. I see them on that discount shelf leading up to Black Friday.
Oh shit!
Because it's just too congested right now. Too congested. There's just too many big titles, and then titles that people sleep on that don't even think about. We're talking about all these big name shooters and stuff. FIFA still dominates. You spend a lot of time playing FIFA, and then we were talking rich about wrestling. People spend a lot of damn time playing the wrestling game. It's always up there when it comes out. So when you start thinking of what you're gonna buy, it's all right, I want that one big sport game. I want that big fighting game. I want that next big shooter, and then people are like, what's going to be the shooter? Is it going to be Battlefield? It's going to be Call of Duty? I think Titanfall is low on that chain right now.
Well, who knows? Because obviously some people are still hyped up about it. Because some people may not want to play a World War I shooter. They may want a futuristic one, but who knows, man? I think the whole Titanfall thing has sailed, to be honest.
I just want to make a quick comment.
Go ahead, man.
I think the title is accurate because the Titans will fall as far as the sales are concerned later this month.
Yeah. I saw some. What's going on there, Adam?
I don't know. He's walking around. Wait, hold on. Let's see.
All right. Sorry, I had to make a little correction off air while you guys were doing all that. All right, so let's get into it, man. Oh, Adam's gone now? Shit. Oh, well, fuck it. Gears of War, let's do this. All right, so the game came out officially, right, on Tuesday. Oh, there he is. Adam's back. He had to put his kid away, I guess. Adam, man, everything all right, brother?
Yeah, my little girl, I guess she was looking for her mom. She walked out of the room, but she heard me talking in here. So then she opened up the door to see if she thought I was talking to mommy.
Yeah, all right. So, Adam, we're going to do it, bro. Gears of War 4, man. So, I got the game yesterday. Not yesterday. Yesterday was Wednesday. I beat the game yesterday. It came out on Tuesday. I liked it, man. Now, we already had this review up on the site for a bunch of days now. Richard wrote it. So, Rich, I'm going to let you start this off, man. What do you think of Gears of War 4? Non-spoiler. No spoilers right now.
All right. Well, it's very hard to not talk about spoilers, but we are going to talk about that at a later time. I'll just say that I think that I give the Coalition credit. I think they played it safe with a lot of the stuff that they did with the game. They had, of course, they introduced the DB robots in the game, and they had the Swarm, aka, pretty much the same as the villains we've already seen in other games. But I thought they played it pretty safe. They had a few new things in there. I really liked the new weapons they had. But for the most part, it was a very safe formula. You have Marcus come in there as well. I can't really say too much about that without getting into spoiler material, but I thought the game was pretty good. The campaign, in my personal opinion, the last time I was on Throwdown talking about an Xbox exclusive, it was Halo 5. I'll say right now, I enjoyed this campaign more than the Halo 5 campaign. But yeah, I thought they did a good job. But when they do Gears of War 5, they have to take more risk with the story, with a lot of different things. But for what it's worth, I think they did a solid job on this game.
Yeah, what I found interesting was like the game was definitely scaled back. Like Gears of War 2 and 3 were like huge fucking games, so very, very epic and stuff, big scale battles and stuff. This one scaled it back to more like the first Gears of War, which is like a small group going through corridors and stuff, shooting a bunch of monsters. And from that standpoint, I really dug it. Like it felt like, because Gears of War, the first Gears of War game, kind of had like a horror vibe to it, right? That was gone in tier 2 and 3. That completely gone. This introduced that. Like this game had some genuinely like terrifying moments. I'm like, oh wow, like this is crazy. I really like that, and I love the beginning of this game. You know, like no Gears of War game has ever had like a proper intro before. This one did. Like, you know, not giving away anything, but you get to like play through like two very important historical things that happen in the world.
Well,
itself.
Judgment sort of tried that. Judgment.
Well, I haven't played Judgment because everybody told me not to play it.
Gears of War Judgment.
Everyone told me
it sort of starts off because it's with Bird, right? And he's in court and he's trying to explain his actions and things that are happening. And they're like, "What do you mean? What happened here? When you did this and that?" And then they would do those weird flashbacks. You know, so it's sort of like tried it, but like you said, a lot of people didn't play it because they just thought it was a spin-off. But Gears is Gears. It, you know, it's a running gun, it's chainsawing, it's all there. You know, I think what makes Gears fun actually, it's just sort of like the way I see it with Halo. It's one of those games where it's good to grab some friends and just experience it all together. You know, you know, it's because I mean they throw the AI guys to fill in that chitter chatter and the banter that they have back and forth, but nothing's better when you're just there with your buddies talking shit. Like, yo, what's that over there? I don't know. Go over there. Oh, you just triggered something. Now you got all those robots rolling, and you know, take cover. And it's like, I'm down. It's great that they can run and revive you, because back in the day it was just your human, you know, buddies that can go and save you. The AI just let you die. They're like, oh, I can't help you. You know,
yeah, they just stand around you like, and you're like,
they just yeah, they just let you bleed out. And I'm like, you know, but they you know, it's good. It's just I don't know. You know, the story so far. I mean, it's not much of a spoiler, but you guys would know. I just did the motorcycle. You know,
yeah,
I did that. Yeah, so I just finished that part, you know. So I'm like, that was cool, you know, segment that sort of threw back to the first Gears when you're, you know, in the car and doing that whole thing.
Yeah, man, that was cool. I like that scene, man.
Very cool, very cool.
So,
you know,
I have a question. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah,
but I mean, the key and what's been the key part of Gears is Horde. Horde mode is what people really enjoy playing. You know, that's a great, you know, same thing. It's get your buddies together, bunker down, and wave after wave after wave start coming in different forms, you know, in different difficulties. Put a shield and then come up with strategy. So it's fun. It's fun.
Yeah, man. You know, like I said, I beat the game. Again, we're not gonna give too much away because we will do a proper spoiler for it. But you've seen the trailers. You get to ride mechs. That's all I'm saying, man. This shit had me hooked.
But they had that. They had that in 3. Remember those suits that you would get?
No, like mechs, like not just little power suits. This is the real deal, you know.
Well, yeah, you can't tell them too much.
Yeah, don't tell me too much.
It was in the trailer for a slight minute. I'm like, oh, you get to ride these things. Cool. Okay. Then I'm not gonna tell you when you ride them, but you ride these motherfuckers, you know. Ooh, man. Okay, I actually really, really enjoy the game. I enjoy the game so much. I'm going to say something very controversial right now. I liked it more than Uncharted 4.
Hold on. Xbox fanboys, are you listening right now?
They're here right now. This is them. They're like, what did you just say? What did you just say? By the way, I'm holding an Xbox controller.
Why? What brought you to that point? Is it the story? Is it the environment?
I mean, the way it was just put together. Like Uncharted 4, as much as I liked it, it felt like it was just like treading the same ground we've been on, right? Like this Gears of War, even though it had a lot of familiar elements, to me, it felt more fresh. Like the last 2 Gears of War games in particular just felt very kind of serious and stuff. And this one brought back all that fun and stuff, you know, like even more so. Like they were cracking jokes the entire time. I really like that. And I like the fact that I beat the game and I 9 hours. I'm like, this is great. You know, it's like Uncharted 4 dragged on for a little bit, you know, like, and there are certain sections of Uncharted 4, even though they were cool, you're not doing anything. You're just walking around really slow, you know, picking shit up. This game, nope, none of that action, non-fucking stop, you know? So, you know, I like the characters. I like, you know, I'm going to get into the graphics a little bit later, but I like the characters and I like the way the story was presented. I could see where some people might be mad at the ending because again, without spoilers, it leaves some things open, you know. But I'm like,
they said it was a trilogy.
Yeah, this is exactly what they said. So I'm like, but I like the fact that it leaves things open and sets up the next game and the next 2 games. This is a brand new trilogy. I dig it, man. And this will be in my top 3 games of the year. I'm telling you that right now. Doom is probably still my number 1 game, to be honest, but this one probably behind it. Sorry, Uncharted 4. I'm just being real right now. You know, I'm a pony, right? Fuck you guys.
Well,
man.
I need to ask a question, a real fast question now. With some of the reason that you also say that it is better than Uncharted is because they did not randomly create a character in this game, like Sam, you know, who wasn't in any of the other Uncharted games, but all of a sudden, oh yeah, I forgot, I do have a brother, and he's in Uncharted 4. Is that that's part of the reason?
I mean, come on, they kind of did it with Marcus Phoenix's son.
Well, no, because they ended,
you know,
with
they
3
made him
ended
up
off,
just for this game.
but he had a love interest in 3. They ended with that, so listen, it's always a possibility they can reproduce.
It's not a retcon. That's a continuation. This Sam guy, he's a retcon. You know, it's like, he was always there.
There's this whole backstory, and like he felt all guilty the whole time about what happened to his brother, but we never saw that within the first 3 Uncharted.
And the other reason, like you just said, but then the other reason why you can't forgive that is because we saw Nathan Drake as a kid in Uncharted 3.
Yeah, that's right.
Never mentioned it. Yeah, he never mentioned. He just was living out on his own.
Yeah, so for me, for Gears 4, man, I like the characters a lot. The only issue I had with the characters is that main character, Marcus's son, man, he's too Nathan Drake-ish, man. They need it, like, there's different types of white people in this world. They all don't look like Nathan Drake, man. Like, I swear.
Well, Marcus Phoenix is Puerto Rican, so that's where that whole thing comes up.
Is he Puerto Rican? What kind of Puerto Rican last name is?
No, it's Dom. It's Dom.
Dom is Mexican.
Really?
Yeah.
When he talked about his wife, you know, and where they got married and stuff. That was in
there's no Mexico in that world. You know what I mean?
It was back in the day. He talked about it. They got married and everything before things went crazy. Remember, you had to go hunt her down and you find out she's dead.
You know what I mean? I don't.
Like Gears 2.
Another. I know what you're talking about, but another cool thing I like about this game, like it establishes that they've been on that planet Sarah for maybe thousands of years. Like they talked about like kings and shit. Like how long have they been on this planet for? This is interesting, you know. So I hope the next games further push that, because I know people don't care about Gears of War story, but I actually do find it pretty interesting, the shit that goes on behind the scenes. Of like, I would love a game that take place during the fucking you know, the wars that happened right before Emergence Day. I want to see some shit like that. You know?
They got the audio books that sort of break.
I want a game like that, man. The fucking I want that shit, you know. So so there's no real like ethnicity. There are ethnicities, but there are no countries here because it's on another planet that they've been on for like 1,000 years or more. You know, it's crazy.
So I have a question for you guys. I'm halfway through the game, and you know, you were talking, Tony, about the first like scene like that we played. The first 3, I think it was 3. Like they were kind of like flashbacks.
Yeah.
There's one in particular where you use like a machine or like a machine gun or something. It's like a crazy ass freaking scene, like where a shitload of thing happened. Like I don't know.
The turret when you're on the top. Yeah.
When you're on the turret, yeah. So I was wondering, is there a scene in the future of the game that's similar to that craziness? Because I still haven't gotten to that point. I'm kind of looking forward to that.
Oh, you're talking about like a big battle.
I don't know if I want to answer that and then spoil it. You know what I mean?
You just say, is there another big battle? That's all.
Yes, okay, yes, another big battle. I'm not gonna say nothing.
I'm pretty sure there is, because they did that in all the other ones. They've always had like a climax big battle, whether it was like underground or, you know, when you're trying to fight the.
There's some other things I'll get into in the spoiler podcast, but I will say this though, like I find it interesting how, because in horde mode now you could actually make. I think they had in other games you can make, fortifications and stuff.
Yeah, you can.
They actually put that in the actual game now. Like there's 3 specific sections where you actually have to build your little defenses and stuff, and hold off a couple waves and stuff.
Well, they talked about it. It's like incorporating horde into the campaign.
Yeah, how crazy is that? Yeah. And then the last thing I want to say is, man, because I play this shit on my PC on Ultra settings. Holy shit!
On whose PC?
On my PC.
I played on my PC too.
Yeah, and Carlos, you can vouch for this too because you played that shit on Ultra too, man. This shit looked crazy, man. Woo.
It's ridiculous, man. Those lightning like bolts, man. Look, they just appear, and you're like, God damn! You get scared, man.
Yeah, it's crazy. But I want to talk about that real quick. I noticed that with Gears of War games, they always have that one environmental hazard that never appears again in other Gears games. Like the first game, they had those crazy swarm creatures or whatever. The second one had that like it was rain, but it was like metal rain or something.
It's like an acid or something like that.
Yeah, and then like this one has that crazy thunderstorm shit, so pretty cool, But yeah, man, graphically, this shit was nuts, man. Like, wow, like, man, it looked good. And
it runs smooth too. Like, like sometimes there's like hiccups in some parts where the frame rate goes down, but overall, it's pretty good. Like if you play at it like at the settings according to your video card and your PC.
Yeah, I mean, there was only one part in the game where it really slowed down to like I call it no frames a second. Like it got like chuggy. I don't know. It must have been something in the background or whatever. But other than that, it was smooth. Only time I did experience a little bit of a weirdness is when they would go into the transition scenes where they go into like cutscenes or whatever. Like it would stop for a little bit and then start again. By the way, this is not.
I don't think that's. I think that's the game. Yeah, I think this. It's not with your system because I experienced that as well.
Okay, so it's got to be the game then.
Same thing.
And then. I got this other complaint. This isn't so much about Gears of War 4, but it's about a lot of the PC games I've been playing lately. The in-game stuff looks better than the cinemas now because the cinemas run out like a lower, resolution and shit.
They're actually running at 10, like something like a 1080.
No, not resolution. No, frame rate. They run at 30.
You can see it. It's noticeable in Gears 4.
Yeah, it really is.
Like, this looks awesome, and then like a cutscene, I'm like, what? Damn.
But Manny is right. Like it is the cutscenes are at 1080p, and like I was playing the game at a 2K, so every time we get to a cutscene, it would play that at 1080p.
Yeah, they play it at 1080p, and then the frame rate is whatever the established frame rate of the game was going to be. So it's probably 30 frames per second, like what it is on the Xbox. So y'all man is just modifying your games so that they run the way they're not supposed to be.
We just got downgrade, is what you're saying. Oh man.
Yeah, no mods on my end, no mods, man. I'm playing that shit.
Speaking of mods, I don't know if you guys talked about this. Did you guys talk about this? That Fallout 4 mods are coming to PS4?
Yeah, we'll talk about that later. We'll talk about that later. But yeah, man, I think we pretty much covered what we want to cover with Gears of War 4. Excellent game. Definitely check it out if you're an Xbox guy.
Well, one more part about Gears 4.
Oh, hold on. I just want to give Microsoft this real quick. I love Play Anywhere. This is the greatest thing ever.
Yes.
Well, really I would like to congratulate the coalition.
Yes, thank you for we brought you guys a really solid game, game of the year level.
I have to say, I mean, with a lot of the with a lot of the reviews and what you guys have been saying, I mean, seriously, like that is the highest like mountain to climb, to go in and be like, we're gonna make a game after Cliffy B and after Epic Games. That's a high order. That's like even Halo hasn't even really done that.
Well, I was about to say they did it successfully because Halo 5, and I'm just going off what Rich and others have told me, they didn't 343 didn't do it right. They kind of fucked up.
Even the TV show that they released to go alongside that.
Yeah, that didn't come through. I think, and the coalition, man, these guys they definitely honored the legacy of Gears, man.
I definitely, from a lot of the, I've watched some gameplay and watched some people play it. And I mean, definitely it feels like they've distilled what is a Gears of War game without making it stagnant and also giving you something new.
Yeah, it's fucking great, man. good shit.
Yeah.
You know. All right. So now we're gonna move on to the next topic, and the man of the hour is here to talk about it. Right on time. Hello, Brett. How are you?
What's up, folks?
All right. So, Brett, you got a nice toy today, man. What'd you get?
I went out today and picked myself up a PSVR. Well,
Oh shit.
I make it sound so casual. I harassed the people at Walmart last night. Okay, there's a bit of a story to this.
Yeah, please tell us the entire thing, man.
Okay, so if you've ever listened to the show before, you might be aware that I've been excited for VR to come out for quite a while.
Just a little
now.
bit, just a little, you know.
And Rachel was very much excited with me. So I had a little bit of money, and I was sitting there, and I was like, man, I'm trying to be a responsible adult here. I knew it was coming out. And I was like, yeah, I mean, it's definitely sold out everywhere. All the pre-orders are sold out, but you can usually shoulder tap a guy at Walmart right around midnight, right around as they're unloading the docks, and get what you need without, having to order or stand in line or anything like that. So, I knew I could do that, and I was trying to tell myself to be a responsible adult. And so I went to my dad, and I was like, I think I need you to talk me out of something, because this is like $500-$600 that I probably don't need to spend. Even though I have it, I should be spending it on bills, on fixing up credit, on any number of serious grown-up shit that happens in my position that I'm not going to get into. And he actually surprised me by going the other way and saying, well, no, I think you should get the PlayStation. And I went back and forth with it for a minute, and then he looked at me and said, if Rachel were here, you'd be getting it. And then my mom pipes in from the other room, like, if Rachel were here, you'd be getting two. Okay. So I guess I'm doing this with the money that she left me. So it's a nice little gift that she got me. So yeah, I went out, shoulder tapped all the people at Walmart. Apparently there were only a couple coming in, and they were possibly already like pre-ordered by somebody, and they were being handled by their manager, shipping management or merchandise management, some shit like that. Some special person had to come in and release it, and that was going to be around 7 a.m. So I just waited until one of my non-24-hour Best Buys open up, because Best Buy never has their shit together. They generally don't do a whole lot of pre-orders, and they're just like, there's a pile of them on the floor. There you go. So we don't have 24-hour Best Buys here, so I just made sure I was there around the time Best Buy opened, walked up and picked up like one of 5 of them.
Pretty cool. So yeah, you got it home. Did you ever get around to doing that unboxing video, by the way?
Yeah, my buddy Colby came over, and I had just popped open the tab, and I got a call from him, and so I had said I'd wait, and then we were about to unbox it, and he said we should do a video. And so luckily he was there to film it, and we grabbed an unboxing video.
Sweet.
Whereupon we set it up, we charged it, and I immediately jumped into a game of rigs. Unbeknownst to me, Colby was, I guess, filming me to give you guys a first reaction video that was authentic without me knowing I'm being filmed. So
nice.
You guys will get like a truly authentic, like when I'm just like, dude, it's sparkly, like, so it's good stuff. So I'll be sending both of those over. He'll be coming back over tonight to play some and get some hands-on experience with it and get his reactions.
Nice. But yeah, man, get into it, man. What'd you think of the actually? No, let's back up. Setting it up. How was it?
What do you mean? Oh, how was the setting it up? It was
setting it up, because I'm hearing Carlos had a little bit of an issue setting his shit up. So
you got one, Carlos?
Yeah, man, I did the same. My story's not as interesting as yours, but pretty much
Carlos went to Tijuana. He's not telling people that shit though. He got his over there.
Nah, essentially, like, I was at work with my buddy, and we're like, man, if GameStop has a freaking PSVR, let's just buy it. So we just went to our was it? I say Best Buy, like GameStop. Went to GameStop, and I was like, "Do you guys have PSVR?" And they're like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Okay," and I just bought it.
I like the way you make them sound. You're like, "Yeah."
We got that. Yeah, you want one? All right, cool.
You want one? I'll get one. Let's go, man.
Yeah, I'm surprised your GameStop's had them. I was checking around for pre-orders for like a month. a month or two ago, and everyone was like, "Yeah, no." They
Yeah,
laughed.
the only shitty thing is that they didn't have the bundle.
Uh-oh.
I didn't have a PlayStation camera, so I had to buy that separately. So I did that, and man, like I know, like Tony said, like we talked about this earlier. Like I used the demo disc that came with PSVR, and that shit needed a 1 gig update. A demo.
This is like
I didn't even put the demo disc in.
But that's so indicative of like modern gaming, is that even demos need fucking
everything. Everything needs a damn patch.
Jesus. Anyway, Carlos, go ahead. So, what gave you problems setting it up?
No, I didn't really have issues setting it up. Did I say I did?
I think you did. It was like it took you a while. That's what I remember you saying.
Oh, yeah, it took me a while because I have like a shitload of stuff in my gaming console thing. There's so many wires. So when I was unplugging the HDMI, because you need a it's the HDMI going to your TV and connect that into your into the little box that works for the VR.
It's not that complicated, but they could have explained it just a little bit better.
Yeah.
It was okay. Let me put it this way: it was like receiving. It was like receiving. Nope, that's fine.
He just dropped the VR.
that was not glass. I promise you. That just sounded a lot like glass. It's like receiving incredibly precise instructions from an Asian man. Like needlessly complicating the situation. Like, okay, take your right hand and place it on the screwdriver, closing your fingers and thumb around the screwdriver, therefore placing the head of the screwdriver into the screw and turning at a clockwise angle. They're like, yeah, okay, well that was 2 pages of diagram I didn't need. You could have just told me switch the inputs, switch the HDMI. I didn't need 3 pages to tell me to unplug the HDMI from like the TV or whatever. Unplug the HDMI from here, plug it into the box, plug the HDMI into the box, and plug it into the TV. So pretty much I'm just daisy chaining between the PlayStation and the TV, like this little processor unit.
So I heard that there's some cables in the front and the back of the headset. Like it's
nope, just out of the back.
No? Okay.
And it has this neat little controller thing on it for like turning it on, changing the volume.
Oh yeah, that's pretty cool. The only thing I hate about that thing, that little brick thing that you raise the volume and turn it on and off, it has the jack for the headset. They give you the shittiest freaking like earpiece, man. Like you're paying $500 for this thing, and they can't give you a better headset.
Yeah, you know what it is that because I think you can actually use it in 2 different ways. You can use it with your own headphones, if you have really good headphones, or if you want to if you have a surround sound system to kind of complete the whole virtual experience.
Right.
I'm terrified of going too deep. Like I can't be dead to the world per se. So like I still have the sound coming from my TV so that I can still hear stuff. Because like if I put on a good pair of like noise canceling headphones and darken the room, I would be gone.
Yeah. And I heard there's some really like some people have said that they really want to have like a little like a clip for the little box that comes from it, like maybe like a belt clip or something like that, especially when you're standing.
That little box is like maybe like if it doesn't hang down to your waist, I don't think, does it?
Let me see.
And I mean,
they're close to it.
Yeah, I've heard.
You're not supposed to be standing.
That's the thing. The one of the reviews I've heard, they said that it's decent standing, but it's actually better sitting down.
Yeah, you're not supposed to stand. It says right like in the manual, and I'm pretty sure when like it introduces you to this is PlayStation VR. PlayStation VR is a seated experience. Like, okay, you can stand on a roller coaster. Doesn't mean that's how it's designed to be. And so you can't be like, well, it doesn't work as well when I don't use it as intended. What the fuck kind of review is that? I kind of want to find that person and tweet them like, yeah, every product works worse when you don't use it like it's intended. If you use the other end of the toothbrush, you're like, yeah, I mean, I like the bristly end of the toothbrush. The other end is good. It's just not as good at not giving me cavities.
But the thing is that the review that I saw was like before I even saw any of that sort of information. Like before you know any of that stuff, like it is a seated experience and all that stuff. So I think it was, at least from the review, I was under the impression that it was both a standing and sitting down experience, and that they said the sitting down experience was better.
I think that it could be a standing experience, but there'd be really little point to it. Like there's not much you would gain. Like you should have a swivel chair, I think, because then you can like lean around and kind of look a little further behind you more comfortably. But you don't really do like any 360s. Like you don't spin completely around, and it's usually because from the games that I've played, and I haven't had a chance to get to everything yet. But like I can tell you, like Riggs played exactly like I wanted it to. Like I can still control my camera, quote unquote, with my left stick. Like my left stick controls my rotation. My right stick controls my rotation. My left stick controls my movement. And then you aim with your head. You aim by looking at things.
So Brett, did you when you were playing the game and you try to swivel your head like almost 180 degrees, or not even that much, but when you try to swivel your head like to your left or to your extreme left or to your extreme right, did you get that notice that says calibrate your headset?
Yeah. Well, no, I didn't. But as I was like not playing the game and tooling around with the headset on, I got that. Yeah, if it loses track of the little lights on front of the visor, it doesn't know where you are, because that's where it's tracking it. So
because I remember I was playing one of the games in the demos, and it was like this huge level, and I'm like, oh, so I'm like looking all the way up, and then it just like tells me, like, yeah, it's like
is there a distance, like the way the Kinect was? Do you have to have a certain distance between the camera and the VR headset?
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Certain games seem more forgiving on that. Like certain games seem like, if you're anywhere in the range, it's cool. I was playing Heist, and Heist is particularly finicky about like it wants you here, not a few feet up there, not a few feet back here. It wants you pretty much right fucking here, because and my space is a little limited. So as I was playing with it, I was like, sometimes the drawers would be a little too close, and like I was supposed to be like ducking behind something. I'm like hunching down in my seat. Really cool experience though. It's way more interesting than I thought, turning the move controllers into hands. Like it was really weird. I was playing part of the Heist where basically you're sitting there going through a desk, and your hands are your controllers are your hands, and so you're like grabbing drawers and opening them up and swinging open things and moving stuff, and you find yourself a gun. And the way that you do it is you pick up the gun and like you grab a clip with the other hand, and you actually pop it into the bottom of the gun, and then when you shoot, that's it. There's no crosshairs. There's no anything. You have a gun and you point it at stuff and you shoot, and bullets may or may not hit them. Like it's a really weird experience, because then you're actually starting to pay attention to where your bullets are hitting, as opposed to having crosshairs. And it actually, for the first time, I was like, oh man, this feels like firing a gun, in that I have no idea what the fuck I'm doing.
So you have to be centered in front of the camera, so you can't be like, let's say if you're in the living room setting and the guy to your right says, oh, I want to play past the headset. No, you have to sit where I'm sitting.
I'm pretty sure, yeah, he can. Okay. It depends. If you are both in the PlayStation VR or PlayStation camera's field of view, it doesn't matter where you are.
All right.
So if all three of you are sitting in the field of view, which is like 9 feet deep and I want to say like 7 feet wide, so it's not a small area, but it's not a gigantic area either. So if you're within that area, then you should be able to just hand it next to your buddy. But I wouldn't hand him one of the ones that you're using a move controller with, because you're liable to get smacked in the face. But yeah, a lot of the games also use the PlayStation, just your old sticks.
I know. I also noticed in some of the reviews where like they actually kind of put like they actually allow you to kind of see the PlayStation controller within the VR universe.
That's trippy.
It's weird.
It's like a weird Tron controller that just shows up in your view.
I heard the one thing you can't see is trophies. You'll hear a noise, but you don't see it.
Yes, that's weird. I was like, what just happened? Like a thing came up for PlayStation Worlds. Like the introduction to itself, I gotta say, the intro to that game is fucking phenomenal. It's like going on an Orlando studio ride, just starting up the game. Like you start it up and you're like in this like stone kind of cathedral thing that's arched way up, and or actually you start out in complete darkness, and then from off in the distance you see like this door, this old like stone archway wood door, and a ball of glowing golden light floating down the hallway. And as it comes in, it illuminates the room, and you realize that you're in this chamber with like a round chamber with like 6 alcoves all around you, one of them broken and 5 of them having statues. And as the orb comes in, it changes color as it changes to a blue and goes into the alcove with a statue of a shark. And all of a sudden, the room is kind of filled with like lighting that's reminiscent of water, and it feels like you're underwater, and it hovers there for a second, and then it moves over to this to the next one, and it all of a sudden like little fireworks start going off, and lights start shining, like disco lights start shining down, and then it moves to the next one, and the light in the room turns red, and little tracers start happening, and then it moves to the next one, and little nebulas form, and stars appear in the middle of the room as the little ball itself like turns into this weird purple comet, and then it moves over to the next one, and the room and the lighting turns like this weird blue, and small bullet shells start raining down from the sky, and then it comes in front of you and like swings around past you, and then goes and like this big holographic like PlayStation Worlds like drops down and manifests, and then shimmers out of existence as this golden ball comes and lands in front of you. And then of course I had to, with my PlayStation controller, go and like reach out and touch it, and as soon as you do, like it reacts, like it shudders and sparks out these little lights as you pass your PlayStation controller through it. And I immediately got a trophy for God knows what, like drooling on yourself. I'd love to
the
see
world.
That. Yeah.
Welcome to the world of PlayStation.
I was like, I hope every intro is as melodramatic as this. Like it's like going to an IMAX theater where they're just like, hey, check out how much sound we can have.
It's like the THX logo, or no, the DTS or the THX logo, where it explodes and all the you hear all the music around you. Yeah,
you're just having fun with light and color right now, and like as an artist, I absolutely fucking love it.
All right, Brett, I have a very important question to ask you, though.
What's that?
All right, because I know you have cats, right? Did this end up happening to you? Hold on, let me share this. See it? Did that happen to you yet?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
By the way, for you guys listening, it's a picture of a PlayStation VR box with a fucking cat in the middle of it.
Listen, Tony, you haven't had cats in a while, but anything box-related,
they jump in.
Cats love to go into shit. I don't know why, but they like to go into shit.
Under covers, you're trying to make a bed, and then they just jump under the covers.
Yeah, like people like to buy like cats toys. Don't buy toys. Buy a box.
Yeah, you just get an Amazon. You have an Amazon box. He climbs in it. I bought this figure recently. You know how like they have those 1/6 scale figures come in those long boxes. And my cat just decided, hey, this is a great place to hang out. And he literally, it's like this thin ass box, and he's just sitting in it, looking at me. I'm like, all right.
Yeah. So yeah, Brett, I'm pretty sure this ended up happening to you too. Then look at the fucking cat. He's just chilling.
Yep.
Oh man. So and you got the full bundle too, right? Like the whole shebang, the $600 joint.
Yep. I got the shebang, so I got to get that. I got myself 2 Move controllers, and I got the World's. Like I don't know how much I'm actually gonna need to end up using the Move controllers, because I don't know how much the full quote unquote VR experience is is going to take off. Like I still think that the hybrid experience where you have the headset, you have the controller, it's neat playing with the joystick or the move controllers. And it honestly, if developers would get creative with it, there's a lot more opportunity for innovative gameplay. Just the idea of these are your hands. You press the button to close your hand, you press the other button to open your hand. Like that's what you do. And that's like even part of the London Heights, like there, you start and there's a table and there's a cigar and there's a lighter. So immediately you pick up the cigar and you pick up the lighter and you light the cigar. And you're like, all right, that's interesting. You put it down. And then there's another point where you're talking with this guy and he picks up a cigar. And so you're just kind of getting into it and I pick up the cigar. And like he picks it up and like starts patting over his chest. And I immediately pick up the lighter and lean down for him. And without missing a beat, he's like, oh, I can't find thanks. And leans in and lights his cigar off my lighter. And I was like, that's really subtle cueing right there. I'm not sure if I would have sat there, how long he would have patted himself, or, I'm not sure if I just walked into exactly what was supposed to happen, but it's a neat little thing like that. And there was no press A to, help Bill light his cigar or anything like that. Like I actually did it. It wasn't a passive thing. It was an active thing. So it's going to be fun to see where people go with it, because I've heard that it can backfire too. Like if you put GTA in VR, all of a sudden your morality starts kicking in. You're like, this feels like I'm doing terrible, terrible things.
Okay.
Well, I mean, have you guys tried playing any normal games in that that VR the virtual
mode.
cinema the virtual cinema mode?
No.
Because I know that when you first put it on, you actually do see your PlayStation dashboard on your screen.
Oh yeah, but it doesn't look as good as your TV. Like that's the thing that everybody needs to know. And I will say this right off the bat, probably in the most harsh, critical way, so that people understand. So to people who know how much I love VR, please take this with a grain of salt. It looks like shit.
Yeah.
Like, the graphics on it look like crap. Like especially if you're a graphics hound or somebody like Tony who's coming from ultra settings on a PC, it is a definite, obvious downgrade. And this is something that is going with all virtual reality. This is not a PlayStation thing exclusively.
You see all the pixels. You can count them. You can point at them and can count them.
Yeah, because they're so close to your face. Surprisingly enough, like I know Sony has like a lower pixel density and a lower field of view. Their processing unit apparently jumps everything up to 120 hertz. It's a genuinely good, smooth experience, but it's kind of like jumping back into the PS2 days. Like edges have stair stepping, and if you sit still, things kind of glitter a little bit and they look like they're made of sand. Like it's a definite step back, because a lot of that power is being used to, run the headset, run the things that you're doing. So I've always been expecting that. And personally, I don't think that's a bad thing, because I think we've hit kind of a glass ceiling in terms of graphics right now. Like now it's, yes, we could make amazing photorealistic graphics in an environment where you can't really do that much. Now we kind of jump back and put ourselves in an environment where you can kind of do a lot, or at least more anyway. Like when VR games take off, like you're never going to have to really plan a cover mechanic into your game again. So it's opening doors, and it's setting back progress a little bit, but I don't mind being reset on that track, because now over the next 10 years, we get to watch VR become slowly, hyper realistic and photographic.
So
right.
So what do you guys
actually, hold on, because that's actually a very good segue he gave me right there.
I was gonna ask about what they felt about the helmet.
Okay, yeah, we'll get to this out.
How they felt about the comfort of it.
Got a question. I'll save it for later. Go ahead. Yeah, what'd you think about the comfort compared to the Oculus too? Because I felt it was way more comfortable. The PSVR was.
Oh yeah, the PSVR is actually way more comfortable. When I opened it up, it felt sturdy, but the front felt light, and I was like, I kind of like this, but I don't know how I feel about this. After I played around with it a little bit, sweet Jesus, thank you for making that front so light. I played with it for like 4 hours, and I had no real it wasn't weighing on my head or anything. Like the biggest problem I had on it was I was wearing something on my head for 4 hours, and there's like an automatic compression that holds it. So I felt like I was wearing like a visor, like an elastic visor for 4 hours, which is only so comfortable.
Wait, you were playing 4 hours straight?
Yeah.
And when you took it off, did you feel disoriented or?
Well, okay, I had a 4-hour session in which I took several small breaks, because I don't want to get myself sick. I haven't gotten to that point yet, and I know that this is actually a great point to make to everybody. There's training going to be involved with this kind of thing. Like, you're going to have to figure out. Hold on one second. You're going to have to figure out your sweet spot of how long you can sit there. And what's going on is there's so much more information than your brain is generally used to. And your inner ear is just sitting there going, no, bro, I'm not getting any of this. What you say we just went over a waterfall? No, I'm not. I didn't. Nothing coming in down here. And after a minute, that tends to make you kind of sick. That discrepancy. It's the same way that older people can get if they don't watch movies a lot. If you find somebody who hasn't watched movies in 20, 30 years and show them like Star Trek now, like it's going to disorient and nauseate them because there's so many jump cuts. There's so many camera swings around. This is actually something that the human brain has to be trained to do. The idea of editing at all, the idea of jumping from one scene to another was something that was almost unheard of when they started making film as a thing. So they actually had to train their audiences not to be confused when they cut from one character to another character because everybody was so used to plays. So there's, as with everything, there's going to be a small learning curve. I think it's more pronounced with VR. But I think it's the same thing. Like, and I've seen movies that make you, I think the last Star Trek I saw was at some point I was like, man, this thing is just jumping all around. So you're going to want to train yourself. And I think somewhere in the get-go, I'm not sure if it was PlayStation or one of the games that I was playing, but it actually said, start with shorter sessions and then build up to longer sessions. So I'm fully convinced that you can train yourself not to be sick on this thing, but you don't want to jump in and just play for 6 hours right off the bat. That may be a little stressful.
There's also an age limit. They said
12.
From 12, yeah, 12. And I know some people were freaking out about that because like, oh, I want to play with my kid. He's like 8 and 9, and it's like, and they're making a big stink about it, but I think they're gonna do it anyway.
Yeah, I mean they probably are, and it might like. I don't know why they say that. Like, it may be just that the screen's so close to your eyes, but they've already proven that the screens close to your eyes don't really affect your eyesight negatively. So, who the fuck knows?
Yeah, I do want to talk about that real quick though, because we've been hearing reports all day of people getting sick. Like I read about people playing the Drive Club demo, throwing up and shit. Adam, you heard about something else too, right?
Dude, I heard Drive Club is a vomit comet.
Yeah,
I do not know. I do not know why, but I've heard Drive Club is particularly like, that one is rough.
Which is weird because it's like, wait, you're in a car. How do you get sick? Like maybe it's real car sickness. I don't know. I don't get it, because like I don't know. It's weird. I mean, you didn't feel like playing Rigs? I figured Rigs would be like a throw-up-y kind of game,
See, this is where it's hard for me to actually say because I'm always mildly nauseous. I have some.
I was just gonna say I'm always throwing up.
I'm always throwing up.
I have a weird. I don't want to say it's undiagnosed. They're just like, I don't know. It's IBD. I was like, okay, cool. So that's why I can't drink, and so sometimes I used to throw up blood, and generally can't eat until like 9 p.m. 2 of my meals a day have to be like a protein shake because I cannot eat 3 meals a day.
Jesus, man, you're like a mogwai. You got all these rules.
Dude, like, no,
can't eat after midnight.
Well, no, like here's the deal. I wake up, and after I wake up, like I generally don't eat breakfast. So like if I wake up at like 2 o'clock, I won't eat, my breakfast at 2 o'clock. So I won't end up eating until like 5 or 6, sometimes even as late as 9, and then I'll eat like a whole pizza and I'll shove a bunch of food down. But I've never been able to like just wake up and eat. I feel real sick in the mornings, and I have to drink a lot of milk to kind of calm it down. God only knows what's actually wrong with me. those motherfuckers scope me from both ends, and still they're just like, I don't know. Like, well, I'm not paying another $3,000 to try and figure out, take another shot at.
Yeah, acid reflux.
No, I don't have acid reflux,
Okay.
which is the weird thing. So if my intestines are fucked up, it's further down the line somewhere.
Okay.
So that being said, like, I'm always like, right now, I feel a little nauseous. That being said,
So it's ironic that you're not throwing up. It's Tuesday. It's like, I feel nauseous anyway. Put this on. Oh my god!
Yeah. Well, no, you can tell when you're going to throw up because you get the drools, man. When you get the drools, that's when you know you're in trouble. When you just start uncontrollably drooling for no reason while feeling sick, you're like, now's about the time when y'all may want to move out of my way. Because I'm gonna go do like some statue spewing Tebow move out in the yard.
Oh shit!
Oh, man.
But yeah, no, I guess some people are just gonna have to deal with the fact that they can't play PSVR.
No, you can train yourself. You can train yourself on it. Like, there are games that you want to jump in right away, and games you don't want to jump in right away. And I imagine.
Did you play the demo for that?
I did not.
Okay.
I have no desire to.
Because I heard that was one that people were getting freaked out, and it's like.
Wait, which one?
Until Dawn. The horror.
Oh shit! Yeah.
You put a horror game in VR. Fuck no, thank you. My life is a real life horror right now. No, I do not need that stress. My heart will fucking give out, motherfuckers.
See, that's it. I could see that happening with Resident Evil or something. You turn.
Hey, man, you read my article, man. I was all fucked up. That was 10 minutes, Yeah. Man, okay. But
imagine playing that for like 3 hours, Tony. Fuck alone in your house.
Nah, fuck that shit, man. All right, the last thing I want to talk about with PSVR before we move on. All right, because you said hopefully they'll get things better within the next 10 years. My question is, will it even live past 1 year? Because I'm still very skeptical about this. I played PSVR. It's not like I'm talking out of theories. I've played it, and I'm still like, meh. I like my games on my TV, my controller.
Let me put it to you this way: since you're just a stubborn motherfucker, and there's no,
I'm not the only one. Me and Adam were talking about this.
But here's the thing: there's no amount of it's great. My friends love it. That's going to convince you. So let me put it to you this way: some of the biggest companies in the world have put millions and millions of dollars investing into this. Facebook bought.
They did that for 3D as well.
No, they didn't.
Yeah, no, they did. And look how that turned out. Yeah.
No, there was a select few. No, there was a select few companies, mostly TV manufacturers, trying to figure out how to get other people to buy more TVs, and they tried to push a new technology that nobody wanted. I'm actually like, I don't want to say I'm sick of that argument because but I think it's time to put to bed. 3D TV was something that was conceived in a lab and tried to push on consumers that nobody ever wanted.
Chris, did Nintendo put a lot of money into that 3D tech that they put in the 3DS?
They bought a company that specialized in making those parallaxing screens.
Don't people love that shit though on the 3DS?
No, everybody turned it off.
Yeah, it gave most people headaches because it's projecting two images in your eyes at the same time, right? But you have to look dead on at it.
Yeah.
And it was causing people a lot of problems, which is why they had the slider. The slider actually pulls and pushes the two images apart, so it adjusts for your field of view. And that caused a lot of eye strain. And
then eventually they just came up with the 2DS because nobody was playing the 3D of it.
Well, no, they came out with the 2DS because it was cheap.
And again, because nobody cared about the 3D, everybody just turned that shit off.
But the 2DS doesn't even close. That was the weird thing. It's just like
it's
open.
That fucking door stop.
That thing is just that thing is just like it's like trying to be the cheap alternative for it.
Yeah, well, that was just Nintendo being petty. Be like, fine, you don't want 3D? Here, don't have fun not closing your Game Boy.
You're like 2DS, which doesn't even make any sense,
But keep going, Brett.
What was I talking about?
VR comparison TVs with 3D and the investments.
Okay, yeah. I feel that there's a huge difference between VR, which was crowdsourced technology that became popularized and was eventually picked up because it was popularized, and something like 3D TVs or the fucking Wii or motion controls or even the PlayStation Move or the Kinect. That was all a bunch of tech companies sitting together saying, what is the next step of how we present media? How are we going to do this? Whereas as VR was from the other side of the fence. VR was the actual people saying, "Hey, how about you give us this fucking thing?" So there's been enough money invested by enough big companies that know what they're doing that should at least help validate that this is going to be around for a little while. Also, it's being used in practical applications. It's being used in therapy for people with PTSD. It's being used in
but we're talking about gaming specifically. We know for a fact VR will be around in other applications. No one's arguing that, like
dude. If VR is around and it's better, somebody's going to be making games for it. It's as simple as that. And VR is going to be around because it's being used for other stuff other than gaming now.
I think it'll be great for like doing walking tours of different countries and different parts. I think that would be a cool experience. Or let's say if I'm having a meeting with, I don't know, a doctor or something, and it's like, oh, let's do a VR session, and then it's there and you're talking and interacting. That might be.
Yeah, I've heard of people using them to pilot drones for drone races, which sounds fucking amazing. I can see them being used to make and tour architecture, virtual tours, concept art, things like that. Like I can see them being used to control robots of all sorts it would suddenly make being able to do your job from home a lot easier. Even manufacturing jobs where you need to press a button, or you need to be aware of an area, or you need to pull a lever, or you could essentially do all that from virtual reality. Even sorting things. You could have a pair of robotic arms and then just have people fucking Skype in. 50 years in the future. I'm getting ahead of myself, but I think the technology is now being utilized for things much grander than gaming. And that means that it's going to be there. And if technology is going to be there, then people are going to play games on it. That being said, will this replace screen gaming? Most likely not. Like, this will not replace your regular PlayStation experience. I don't think every game is going to be in VR, nor should it. There crosses a certain threshold, like, when you get too crazy with a game, like that, it will make you vomit in VR. Like there's a certain amount of mental or visual stimulation you can take. So I think if it's one of those anime type games, like you would never put Bayonetta in VR. Like that's something breakneck and flashy like that it would be too hard. But I think we might start to see a new generation of games evolve alongside your typical on-screen games that are slower and more immersive, games that you would normally find boring, but in VR are actually quite a bit of fun, nuanced games, like Heavy Rain. Heavy Rain in VR would be amazing. It would be 10 times better than it was on a flat screen. So I do see it staying around, and I do see it being better for certain experiences. But I don't know if you're going to want to. I do know this. I don't want to go back to playing Gears of War after I've piloted a mech.
Oh, really? Like no more third-person games for you now?
Well, no, not even that. Like, if you take the experience that's like Destiny, and you take the experience that is Riggs, and like, holy shit, the game is like, that's the difference between like when you were a kid playing on your Super Nintendo at home, or going to the arcade and feeding $2 into that fancy machine that lets you sit in the cockpit with the 2 joysticks and then rotate it around and swung around as you shot at stuff. Imagine then taking that machine that takes $2 of quarters at a time home and being able to play it anytime for free. That's what having PSVR is like. It's like having that crazy experience that you couldn't normally get, but now I'm suddenly getting it. And like, I couldn't go back and play Destiny because I'm like, oh man, it's A, I'm not piloting giant mechs, and B, I'm not shooting lasers by looking at stuff. Like I don't know why that doesn't get more people excited. You look at things to target them. That is just so much fun. And it's super intuitive.
Yeah, well, I mean, and this
Carlos, do you have rigs? Do you want to play some rigs later? You should have rigs. You should get rigs.
Rigs. But yeah, people seem to really like it so far. But I still say we'll see what happens in 6 months' time, because look what happened with Oculus and HTC Vive. 6 months, no one gave a shit anymore. Surprisingly, it's actually doing very well. Maybe it shouldn't be surprising because of the price. The Gear VR, that's doing actually very, very well.
I had a thought on that actually. And it's the reason that I went with the PlayStation VR, because it's not that nobody gives a shit. It's that there is a bunch of infant games clamoring around these things with no real order or anything like that. And it's kind of the same. It's the same problem you have with mobile games. It's everybody's trying to cram through the store at once, and there's no order, and it's tough to get picked out of a crowd, and therefore it's tough to get funding, and it's tough to bring big development into it. It's kind of tripping over itself a little bit because there's nobody there to take charge. That's one of the reasons I invested in Sony, or in the PlayStation VR, because Sony is clearly heading development of some things. It's the reason they already have the best lineup of games by a lot of people's consideration. And it's the reason that I think that they're just being picked up by Sony is going to lend a modicum of credibility to your game, even though there's going to be a shit ton of shovelware. I think it'll make it easier to pick the games out of the crowd that are good and that have been developed further or invested a little bit more in. So I don't think it'll fall into the same pitfalls. But again, you're still seeing stuff in its infancy. Like, it will take a couple years before all of this takes off, and there will probably be a second generation of VR headsets before Tony's fully satisfied that it's hooked on.
I think Reggie just nailed it for me. What if Kojima made a game in VR?
Oh, then you'd be sold.
I replied to him, that'd be the hottest VR game of all time.
He'd be like, did you like it?
Yeah, no. If Kojima made a VR game, I'd have to buy a PSVR.
So that's specific now.
Yeah, man, hey, why do you think I bought a PSP? I bought that shit because I wanted fucking Peace Walker.
I don't know. I think the next one will be like a whole outfit. A whole suit with sensors.
I've seen that.
Yeah. And when they were showing, was it Res on and stuff? Res or something? It's like the whole experience. So, like, let's say if you're doing a boxing game and a guy punches you in the gut, you feel like a vibration in your stomach or something, But you're getting that view. I could see that. But then you could use it for training. I could see someone using it for sparring and those type of things. So, yeah, outside of gaming, I'm sure there's a lot of uses for VR.
I don't think anyone's arguing that, man, for sure.
I hope Shenmue comes to VR. That would be the kind of game that would be made to be in VR.
Brett wants to drive that forklift for a couple hours.
Dude, I want to casually walk down the street and buy little things out of the vending machine and then have to rush to my forklift job and then stop and talk to random people with their bad
fight motherfuckers.
Yeah, get a fucking street fight with a PS Move controller. Man, oh man, that'd be so much fun.
When is the new one coming? Is that still in development? That is, right?
That's still Kickstarter and shit, So who knows if that's even going to come out?
I thought Sony jumped in on it.
Shenmue actually, we get regular updates on it. Pretty, like I think we got one that wasn't too far off. So,
man, I'm not seeing these updates.
What do you? Did you fund it?
No, but I want to see them online. How come no one's talking about it?
Because nobody's talking about
updates.
They're just. I mean, the thing is that for a lot of Kickstarters, people don't say a lot of shit about it because half the time, most people who are paying for it don't want to start revealing shit. Some people do.
Mighty Number 9, we heard updates all the time until things started getting bad.
I mean, granted, you don't hear. Do you hear any of the stuff from Bloodstained?
No, that it got delayed. By the way, fucking Cuphead got delayed again. Shit, man.
Dude, they're a small studio. Just let it come when it comes.
Give me the game. But anyway, let's move on here because we got a couple of stories to talk about. All right. So the first one is okay, if you wanted to, play use your PlayStation controller on Steam, you had to use like this third-party fucking program and shit. Now that's over.
It was actually not yet. It wasn't actually a third-party program. It was literally a guy figured out how to get it to work. He essentially just made this mod that makes a virtual controller in your system, and that's how it emulates the PlayStation controller, which it works okay, and it doesn't work on every game either.
Yeah, exactly. I've always had issues, so I don't even bother. I just use Xbox. But now, in a future update, Valve is going to have DualShock 4 support for Steam. What's interesting is it's going to make Steam think you're playing a Steam controller. That's how it's kind of going to work. You know what I mean? It's pretty interesting, but I'm pretty happy about that because you guys know me. I prefer the DualShock 4 controller over the fucking Xbox controller. So I'm good. I'm pretty happy about this. But Manny, I want to talk to you specifically because you're like dubious about this, even though this is an official thing. It's not just some guy making it.
No, it's not an official thing. It's not approved by Sony, is it?
No, it's a Valve thing.
I don't know. I think it might be a little bit weird.
I don't think
Why?
Sony would disapprove because I mean,
why would they?
Somebody would have
that
to
makes no
buy.
sense.
They were still going to have to pay $60 to buy one of their controllers. What if they don't have a PlayStation? It was like, oh, I'm just a Steam guy. I have my Xbox one. You know what? Let me go pick up that PlayStation 4 one. Let me see if there's a difference in comfort. I could see that.
Yeah, I mean, I was talking to some people who were saying it's like, yo, this is going to raise sales of the fucking controller now, Everybody's been stuck with the Xbox controller this time. Now they can finally use a PlayStation controller. I think that's fantastic, But they said it's going to be like a slow rollout. Not every game's going to be compatible, but, but the thing is, it's weird how it works. Like, it's going to trick the Steam's of thinking you're using a Steam controller because the Steam controller also has gyro and shit and a touchpad, so it kind of mimics it in that way. And eventually, you're going to be able to use the Xbox Elite controller on it too, because apparently that's not compatible at the moment because that's all those switches and shit.
I think it would be easy for multi-platform games to just integrate that because they already have the configuration from the PS4 one, so it's just like, well, let's just leave that in there, That's it.
Just think about the touchpad, right? What's a touchpad now? Basically, it's a giant button. It doesn't even do anything, So that should be easy to work with.
I thought they were gonna take that shit out. When I saw the new control, I'm like, they're gonna like shrink it or do something.
No, it's right there.
It's right there. Oh, speaking of weird things, you notice how a lot of games got rid of the sound. When you don't have a headset and they had those Freaking Modern Warfare Remastered brought that shit back.
Oh, it did. Well, it never went away. I was playing Deus Ex. That's a new game that has that shit.
Yeah,
it does.
Look, I had the headset on, and then I'm hearing all the little beep, 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 and all that stuff. I'm like, God damn.
Well, the thing is, a lot of games what they'll do is they put it in the menu where you can kind of swap it out. Like Metal Gear has the same thing because all the iDroid stuff is all set to your controller. But what you can do is like on the options menu, you just say no speaker, and then it's fine. So I'm sure Modern Warfare Remastered is the same thing, where it's just like they just have an option to turn that off.
I gotta go into that.
Yeah, because you don't want, like, especially if you have it in headphone mode, you're like, you don't want to bother, like, let's say your wife or your somebody, your girlfriend or whatever is sleeping, you don't want them to be hearing all these stupid noises coming from your dumbass controller.
Man, what was the one that you couldn't turn off? Infamous. That was constant. Was there a way to turn
that was always the time. Yeah.
Oh.
Remember, that was a launch game, right? So you had the trackpad in it too, all that shit, all those gimmicks were in there, But yeah, I'm pretty happy about this. So I don't know when they're going to roll it out, but, hopefully it'll be soon. All right, next thing I'm going to talk about, sticking with the Sony thing here. Okay, so this is one of those things, man. It just irritates me that it's funny. Gamers have short memory unless it comes to fanboy shit. Then they remember everything, right?
Mm-hmm. Selective memory.
Maybe in this case, they're forgetting things to fuel the fanboyism. But anyway, so CNBC, they posted that they said, breaking news, Sony to release mobile games next quarter. And everybody's like, oh, see, that's it. It's over for Sony. They fucked up. I'm like, this was reported in March. Why you motherfuckers just reacted to this now?
The hilarious thing is that Sony already has apps for and stupid games for both the iPhone and the friggin' Android. There's an Uncharted Endless Runner that came out in 2013. What
are you guys talking about?
Yeah, there's this other crazy. Stupid. I think it's not. I think it's like a couple of different games, like game characters in it, like that are in this one game. It's like, come on, guys, these games are they're coming out with them. It's not.
Yeah. So they're going to be coming out with like 5 games next fiscal year, which is next year, kind of late next year. Okay, like none of us are going to be playing this shit anyway, so it doesn't even matter, who cares? But it'll make more money on the side. Like, think about it. Hey, I could play Crash Bandicoot for $1 or something,
Well, that'll probably be Activision that makes that one.
Yeah, well, that is true. Yeah, because they said they want to bring classic PlayStation games over and stuff.
Oh yeah.
So we're gonna see like PlayStation 1, like
Jack and Daxter,
or something like that.
Yeah.
But even older, Klonoa.
Oh, there you go. But the Xbox has already saying this is the doom of Sony right now. All their games are going to go mobile. Fucking idiots, man! I swear.
The only reason why Microsoft doesn't make other types of apps, even though they also have an app for Android and for iPhone, is because they had their own device. They have their own devices. They have a friggin' Windows phone.
Yeah, exactly. What's the name of that Windows phone again?
Chris?
With the Lumia?
Adam? There you go.
Lumia series?
I
had
Brian
one.
had it,
I had the 6-inch one, and that was crap. I had like 3 of them. The screens died out on me. So
6 inches, goddamn.
Yeah, it was big. That's what she said. So,
Hey, man, at least it's not blowing up.
Yeah, that is true,
oh
man.
That's
That dude's looking like there's dudes
Samsung's
out there
a
looking
mess.
like fucking Two-Face right now,
Oh man.
Or what's his face? The dude from Breaking Bad, like all fucked up half his
Oh,
face.
Gus Fring.
Yeah,
I don't know
Romero
how that
dude.
brand is going to survive this. I don't know how Samsung is going to survive because it's not even just the phones. It's their washer and dryers. You heard that shit exploded too.
What the
Last
fuck?
week, yeah, they had a washer just like, so
Yo, that's crazy.
they're
How do they know
You know what?
How do they know they don't have North Koreans inside of their company creating explosive products?
Oh shit.
And
Yo.
it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough.
Oh man, but Samsung, we'll see, man. Because I like Samsung.
then Japan goes, you see those goddamn Koreans with their exploding devices. You should totally buy Japan.
The crazy thing is, like, everyone that's used the Note 7 loves that phone.
Yeah.
Just the fact that it can kill you.
Did you see the mod, the GTA mod?
Yes.
Like a sticky grenade, so you can like stick it onto cars, and then it just blows up.
Yeah, you use it as grenades. It's hilarious, man. But yeah, mobile game. I don't know. It's not. The only reason I want to talk about it is just because I just find it funny how people just suddenly forgot about this news, even though it was already announced in fucking March. They're making a big deal out of it now. It's hilarious.
Hey,
They're just drawing more attention to it. I think
Yeah.
it's just like, hey, look, because there's always new people jumping in on things and don't know.
Breaking news. Get out of here, CNBC, with that.
Oh, did you hear?
bullshit.
There's a new band out. It's called Metallica, right? And they just released an album. You know what I mean? There's always going to be people like, what? They got other what? I mean, it's like that with everything.
Yo, remember? I think it was Kanye West, right? He did a collaboration with Paul McCartney. People were like, "Yo, that Paul McCartney guy is going to go places because of Kanye now." Like he just put this dude on the map. I'm like, you guys are fucking stupid.
They just don't know. That's it.
All right, so we got to move on to this thing. This is interesting. So NPDs came out, right? Xbox has won its 3rd month in a row. Unprecedented.
Dun, dun, dun.
No. I don't know why everybody's so surprised with this. I mean, think about it. PlayStation said, all right, we have this slim model. Okay, that's great, small model, whatever. And then we got a pro one. That's when this is going to matter. Now, if the pro comes out and nobody buys it, then there you go.
Yeah, so I'm going to stop right there because I don't, you guys who are hardcore Throwdown fans, please go back last month when I said Microsoft is going to win September. I said that shit precisely because of what Adam just said. People waiting for the Pro now. They're not buying the PlayStation 4 right now. People are not going to be picking that shit up. They're going to wait. When the Pro comes out, it's over. It's going to go back to the quote unquote status.
To be over.
Even though it's $100 more, people are going to buy that shit in droves. I guarantee you that shit. But right now, no one's buying a PlayStation. No fucking way.
Did they release the numbers, like the difference?
Let's see if they did, because usually they don't. Like you have to do some digging in order to find out. I'm gonna look at this article, Ricky, but I don't think
Gears just dropped. I know. I personally have buddies that that I haven't talked to in a long time. And they hit me up and they're like, yo, you getting Gears? You getting Gears? I'll pick up an X1 for this. So there's people jumping in just for Gears.
Yeah, but remember, they're not counting October; they're counting September. Ooh, that's another question. So is Microsoft going to win 4 in a row?
Yes,
because of Gears.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If Sony didn't win last month, they sure as hell are not gonna win this month.
No, they're not. Rich, give us your thoughts about this, man.
Oh no, I was going to say I know a lot of people that picked up their Gears Xbox One S. Hell, I was even thinking about picking that up. So that definitely is probably going to
pushing units.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure, man. So should we make the prediction right now that Xbox is going to win October as well?
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
the one that
Sony
matters.
doesn't have anything. Sony doesn't have shit in October.
Well, that's
They don't
it.
have shit in November either.
Yeah,
No,
and that's
they
what
do.
could
They
hurt
say,
them.
do they have the
Just
PlayStation
like,
Pro, dude?
See, no.
Oh, I'm
But
talking
Carlos
about
just brought
games.
up. No, but that's Carlos brought up a good point because yeah, the console comes out, but then people that are just like, let's say they're not really into Loop, they just know and they just want the new thing. They're like, all right, the Pro coming out, right? So what's going to utilize that? Well, there's no real game. I mean, there's some patches,
Call
there's
of
some
Duty,
stuff
you know
that's
those
out.
guys, man. Call
No,
of
no,
Duty
no. I
guys,
know, but there's no game that's really selling with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no,
So,
I agree with you.
Yeah, so it's
Hey,
gonna
The
be.
Last of Us enhanced.
You know what I mean?
It's
So
the
gonna
Turbo
be-
HD edition, man.
Yeah, right. Uncharted
it's-
enhanced, all that shit.
I mean, because I have the Tomb Raider. I have a bunch of all the ones that are all gonna have it, and I'm getting these emails. Oh, now that you have this, get ready because it's gonna be enhanced with this, and it's like, all right, cool. But when it comes to like a big selling point for it, I don't think they have anything that's really gonna show it off.
Nope.
Yeah,
So
Not right now.
yeah, so that's going to be the hard point. So, I mean, everybody likes that new thing, you know what I mean? And you've seen it with the VR, and I think, especially with this, no one's going to want to be left behind. They all want to say, you know what, I'm getting the best console experience. I got the Pro. So, I'm assuming that it's going to be a big seller. But if it doesn't, then that means they're not going to win, when it comes to the holidays. Because look, so far, all their exclusives already been
got me
pushed
sold.
back.
As soon as I strapped on the PSVR, I went, "You sons of bitches!" 'Cause I know exactly what's gonna fucking happen. They're like, "You like VR?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I like VR. Like a little bit crisper." And I'll be like, "Yeah, I want it a little bit crisper." They're like, "You want to replace your PlayStation?" I'll be like, "Fine, I'll replace my PlayStation."
Yo, Brett, that was me with my graphics card. It's like, hey, you like this, right? What about you upgrade? Why not?
Carlos, tell me you're not the same way. Tell me that halfway into your first play session, you're not like, "Fuck, I'm gonna get the Pro."
Oh yeah, man. I pre-ordered my Pro already. But
not for VR though. You pre-ordered
Yeah.
it before that. Yeah.
oh yeah,
Hey,
I pre-ordered it when
guys.
they announced it.
Hey
Give me the-
guys, you want a Pro? It'll make
Mhm.
VR better.
Yeah, right. That's how they get you, man.
Hey, how you guys?
Yeah, so yeah,
I'll
gonna
let
say
you guys know because
That's
now
what PlayStation Pro sounds like. Kermit the Frog.
I'm
Yeah,
gonna do, that was a good Kermit. I'm gonna be in a unique experience now where I can actually show this to people who have been uninterested in VR. They're like, "I don't know what the big deal is." So that's gonna be where I get a lot of feedback. Like I now have like a demo station in my house.
Brett's like the evangelical PlayStation VR guy.
Oh no, I'm
Come
actually
to the
really
church
interested to
of
see some people
VR.
are like, "This is shit," because I may have a huge bias, and it'd be interesting to see if people are like, "Yeah, I still don't think that's anything," but I think it's one of those things you have to get your hands on.
Yeah,
To,
and Brett, I'm like, I just finished, like, I just barely set up my stuff. So tomorrow when I get back from work, I can't wait to like bring in my parents and show them this, man, because they're gonna like, they're old school. So like a freaking HD TV is like big deal for them, man. So imagine freaking VR is gonna be crazy.
oh yeah, I can't wait to show my dad.
My-
Like, you don't even know like you don't even have to know how to play video games anymore because he tapped out into like Super Nintendo. He's like, "There's too many fucking buttons now. I'm done."
Oh yeah, my mom's gonna be like, "Which Nintendo is this?"
Yeah, and Nintendo, right, Carlos? The Nintendo.
It's a Nintendo.
In a sense, she's not wrong though.
Why?
Retro boy, right?
Oh, that's
Sony
right.
was born out of Nintendo.
Well,
Like their legacy was born, not the company, but their gaming legacy was
PlayStation,
born out of
yeah,
Nintendo.
This is it. This was your segue. This is it.
Yeah, right.
Tony, you're supposed to whip out the book. I was like,
Oh, no,
and
I don't have the fucking book. We're not giving that shit out right now. By the way, nobody is commenting this week. What the fuck, guys? There's 14 of you dudes watching us, but no one's saying shit this week. I guess nobody wants those gear codes, man. It's crazy.
You don't want no gears? Is that all you guys out there just play PlayStation?
well,
What's
they
this?
all, unless they already have it. Who knows?
Yeah,
Oh,
but
yeah.
speaking
Oh,
go ahead,
speaking of
man.
graphics cards.
Graphics, oh god. Oh yeah, I was gonna ask you about it. Look what I gave Manny. I didn't give you a 1080. Get the fuck out of here. I gave him my old 960,
I know.
which is a bigger step up from what you have, though. So
Yes, it is. It was literally like Adam's old
I
card.
gave him a 750. I think it was a 751. Yeah.
Yeah,
so I gave you one that's 200 times more powerful if you judge it by the number.
Yes.
yeah, man, you're gonna be. So you didn't install it yet, I'm guessing.
Yeah,
right?
I haven't had the time to install it yet, but I it's not that hard. Just like
Yo, man, it's gonna make your art faster, man.
yeah, it'll somehow make my the way my art works faster. It'll make me
Yeah, it's
draw
like,
faster.
yo, man,
It'll
I can
just draw
30
for it.
minutes now because of this graphics card.
I can hit the draw button and it'll instantly do all of my work.
Yes.
No,
Well,
if
the
you get the
rendering-
VR headset and you have that card, you think about what you want to draw. And you put your
Yes.
hand out and
Mhm.
it says like move your fingertips like this. And then it just materializes.
Adam, you just described the future VR game right there.
That's it. That's gonna be it.
Which speaking of VR,
Do a Bob Ross.
Yeah, right.
speaking of VR, a little bit of a funness with the PlayStation VR, Tony, you know that, where essentially you can take the PlayStation VR and stick it into an Xbox.
Yes.
You can get it.
So
and
basically,
Yeah,
so
go
basically, what you do is you stick the HDMI that's supposed to go into the PlayStation 4 into an Xbox, and you can actually play Xbox games. Like they're not like calibrated for it. Obviously, it's just going to look like cinematic mode, like a giant screen in front of you, right? And it like it doesn't have the head tracking or anything like that. But you can still do it. But like Brett said, it's going to look like shit. So just keep that in mind, But you can still do it. It's kinda, you could use it in that way,
I had one of the things that I've wanted to do is to watch movies because supposedly it's more of like a cinematic feel because it's like being in a cinema, but the resolution, man, it does not help that. I rather just watch it on my TV.
Now it is cool that it's in 3D though.
On my TV?
On my TV.
I would totally watch 3D movies on it though.
Yeah, it'll be way more immersive for sure, but just a standard 2D movie, it's not worth it.
I want them to make movies where you're actually like in the scene in VR.
Oh,
My
commentary.
go-to example in this.
Oh,
No, my
commentary.
go-to example in this is like if you're watching Inglourious Bastards, I want you to be in the beginning of that film. I want you to be in that farmhouse. Like I want you to pretty much be at that table as he's asking for a glass of milk. Like that's the kind of cinematic experience I'm hoping virtual reality will usher in.
Au revoir, Shoshana. That's one of the best scenes in freaking movie history, man. Yeah, but it's too late for that.
I was going to say a joke and I completely forgot it. Hey, Chris, are you back yet? No, he's not. Damn it. Because he's
Oh,
got to
no,
talk.
I'm back.
Okay, so let's move on here. Okay, so before we started, Chris specifically requested 5 minutes or more of alone time. Like everyone's gonna just let Chris talk because he's gonna say something about Nintendo. Now, Chris, we'd let you do your thing anyway, so it's very interesting. You're specifically asking for time.
Oh yeah, well, the reason I did that is because yesterday, I think some box art got tweeted out, or some logo got tweeted out that was calling the NX a Duo, right?
So I went to the bank yesterday.
So it got me thinking, right? The things that have been happening lately. I mean, not lately, but there's been more and more events happening recently, leading up to when the NX is supposed to release, that are very suspicious, and then going backwards through all the decisions Nintendo's made, all the things that have happened to them, all the things that they've been doing and producing. I came up with two divergent predictions for what the future of NX, the future of Nintendo could be.
Uh-oh.
So one is based on the standard stuff. So there's a lot of articles going around. I always try to keep up with what everyone's doing. So I look at Sony News. I'm subscribed to different Twitters, and I read Tony's articles. I look at all sorts of stuff. I keep up with Xbox news. But when I look at Nintendo news, especially lately, there's a lot of clickbait, right? Because somebody's always like, I have Nintendo news and specs on the NX, right? And it's all bullshit. It's always the same leaks. It's always assumptions. It's always fanboy mental gymnastics going on where they write articles and then pass it off as news. It's really propaganda. So what got me thinking lately, what made my second theory, and I'm going to get to that when I go through the conventional theory first. The conventional stuff is the NX is a hybrid tablet, yada, yada, yada. It docks, it connects to your TV, all that stuff.
But why is it taking so long, and why haven't we seen any news? Why hasn't Nintendo said anything? We're 5 months away from when this thing's supposed to launch, right? Roughly 5 months. There's been no news, no official news. We don't have a name. That box could be real, could be fake. Who knows? We got nothing. There's no planned Nintendo Direct. I'm on the press releases. So is Tony. So is Richard. I haven't heard anything. No Directs coming up. Right? So what is it? What are they waiting for? Why wouldn't they start pre-orders? And any company would do this, even them. Nintendo wants your money, believe me. I already analyzed this, I already went over the editorial. They need money, right? So why is this taking so long, and what does it mean? And based on what has been going on with them, what I've heard, I have some sources, they are having huge implementation problems on both sides of the aisle. So what led me to that first was the reports from small and medium-sized developers that they're not getting dev kits, right? So that was curious. And then people would dismiss that as like, oh, well, Nintendo only deals with the AAA guys or whatever, right? Like the AAA guys won't even bother developing for them after the fiasco that was the Wii U. So I dismissed that outright. I was like, something is really wrong. And then I started to think about, well, they're always in their bubble, and they're always doing things in the Japanese market, and they're always trying to figure stuff out, but only from their small perspective. So then when they have to implement it globally, especially in North America and Europe and whatever, they don't consider how everyone is different, especially when it comes to internet. So then I thought about, like, okay, they worked with NVIDIA. They created this tablet. They want one of the rumors was cloud streaming, which I definitely believe they want to do, right? So Nintendo's going from 0 to 100, right? They have no real shop. They have no single sign-on. They have no service comparable to like Steam, Xbox Live, PSN. They have nothing comparable to that. They have the eShop, which is cheesy. Stuff is still locked to your system. So these guys are going from, like a stone wheel to a Goodyear tire. They want to just instantly make that leap of technology, right? But this is a company that is always slow to change, always kind of far behind everyone else. And they're not able to make this stuff work. They have to make two things work. There hasn't been a non-power PC Nintendo system since the Nintendo 64. So they've been constantly coding against a complex instruction set of PowerPC for their last 3 systems: the GameCube, the Wii, and the Wii U. They're all the same thing. And now they have to figure out how to work with NVIDIA's architecture and their instruction set. So it's a whole new can of worms for them. So while they're developing a new operating system, working with new hardware vendor, they also have to figure out, hey, they want cloud streaming now. They want single sign-on. We have to make an equivalent to Xbox Live. Now, they don't look at anything outside of themselves, so they're trying to figure that out. They're trying to reinvent the wheel when it's already out there. They could easily look at Steam. They could look at Xbox Live. They could look at infrastructure. They could talk to guys like Amazon for cloud and whatever. But no, they're trying to do it themselves within a small window. So they're only working with NVIDIA. So maybe they're working with NVIDIA on cloud implementation. But here's the thing. Japan has really seriously great internet, right? You go out in the street, you have better Wi-Fi than you do in your house here. They've got they're wired, they're fiber, they're way ahead of us in terms of internet technology. So that kind of stuff is easy. If you want to do cloud streaming out in the street, I'm sure people have their Vitas and whatever, and they can stream whatever they want, wherever they want. In America, that's not going to work. In a lot of other places, that's not going to work, right? And why is that? Because we don't have that kind of stuff. I can't go on the street and get Wi-Fi here or anywhere else, maybe San Francisco. I don't know where you can go to get that kind of stuff. So what do they have to do? Then they have to start thinking about, well, gee, there's all these cellular networks. We have to put antennas in the system. We have to count for 4G, 3G, whatever is out there. There's CDMA, there's TDMA, all the different carriers. And then they've gotten themselves into a big, they're trying to grow up super fast, and they're having problems on every angle. And then the single sign-on, you have to create a whole infrastructure for that. They never had anything like that. So now you have to create databases and systems and infrastructure to handle people's accounts, customer accounts tied to the system. So in the middle of all this testing, something must have gone wrong, right? Or multiple things going wrong at the same time. So keeping quiet about it because they don't know how to handle it. They can't show it because it's not right. They can't give out a lot of dev kits because they're still fixing the base system. And so their lead up to their release is tenuous at best. So they may, I think they may even delay it, right? Because they're not ready. If we go along the conventional line of thinking that this system is happening the way all the rumors say and what we're getting from rumors from Shenzhen and all that stuff, right? So that's like first line of thought. But then I had another line of thought. And this goes into kind of, conspiracy theory. I put my tinfoil hat on because I started seeing pictures and I started putting together pieces, and I put strings on, and I have the "Wanna Believe" UFO poster on the wall. Like, all right, so we have a second theory, and here's my second theory. So I hope you're all sitting down. There's no NX. All right, so here's where it gets crazy. There was an NX, but then Apple came along. And you notice there's been a lot of talk with them and Apple. Okay, so the first clue was like Apple's WWDC event. Miyamoto shows off Super Mario Runner, right? That was kind of odd, right? Nintendo could have always made a game for mobile. They've made other things come out. There was no like big event for Pokemon Go, even though it was huge. There's no other events for anything else. Or at least we Miitomo, nothing. But Mario, Miyamoto shows up, goes over to Apple, does a press event. Okay, that's strange, just for a sort of endless runner. But then I read 9 to 5 Mac yesterday. I guess who was at Nintendo's headquarters doing a photo op and trying out the game on the iPhone 7? Tim Cook. So the head of Apple, is over at Nintendo's headquarters while they are working feverishly trying to get their own hybrid tablet system, which is going to compete with Apple, right, by the way. And the CEO of Apple's over there, and they're laughing it up playing Super Mario Runner. So I don't know if you guys realize this, but Tim Cook makes more money in a minute than most of us make in a couple of months. This man's time is money. He's not going to fly 14 hours to Japan to sit on a couch and take a picture with Miyamoto and Kimishima and all these guys for one game. There's something bigger going on. And here's what I think it is. I think Nintendo is looking for a huge investment buyout. And I think Apple is ready to make a huge investment into video games right now. So here's where this is mutually beneficial for both of them. Apple, let's say Apple makes a huge deal with Nintendo and they get exclusivity to all their IPs, right, on Apple hardware. So what happens? Apple's now the single place to go to play Nintendo games.
Yeah, it goes on Apple TV.
Right. It goes on Apple TV, so you can play with a controller. You have stuff on your iPad, custom games. And Nintendo now doesn't have to worry. Like Tony and I have said this before, they should go third party, right? But here's how they go third party and make a ton of money doing it. They get rid of all the infrastructure stuff that they needed for hardware. They don't have to worry about networking. They don't have to worry about manufacturing. They don't have to worry about hardware support. They have to worry about making their own SDKs or operating systems because they're not making the device anymore. And the bigger deal is Apple's already figured that stuff out for them. Apple's got their hardware set. They have their own custom processors. They have their own graphics engine. They have their own SDKs. They have the hardware built to handle 4G. They don't have to think about carriers or whatever. You already have your iPad or whatever or your iPhone set. So this is my theory, is that the NX was stumbling, like I said in my previous theory, stumbling, a lot of stumbling blocks, a lot of problems. Then Tim Cook came along, and I will estimate him with my crystal ball paraphrase. He went, fuck that shit. You make games for us. We already got the hardware, we got the infrastructure, we have the store. Your ROI goes way up, your costs go way down, and you'll make tons of money and be mutually beneficial for both of us. We'll sell Apple TVs and get into the game system. You will not have to worry about hardware anymore, and you could just focus on software. Nintendo is a love relationship with Apple, and even was back in the day when I was there, they loved Apple. Out of anyone else, Sony was a bad word at Nintendo, right? So much so that when when they had to order TVs for E3 or any event, they always bought Panasonic TVs, and they do so to this day. Why? Because they won't touch anything from Sony. They won't buy. They didn't buy Vios. They didn't buy anything because they could say this is how like that Japanese mindset works. That the traditionalist mindset. Microsoft also is a competitor, right? But you have no choice but to use Windows. Yes, you do. You buy Macs, and that's what we use. I used a Mac the entire time I was there. My whole career at Nintendo, I had a Mac, as I worked off of, coded off of, designed off of, right? Because they didn't want to buy PCs. PCs were just for the office manager and a few other desks, and of course they ran Windows because they had to, right? What else are you going to do? But other than that, everybody else got Macs. So they've had a love relationship with Apple. They've never considered them a competitor, and now maybe they don't have to. Maybe Apple is taking that burden off of them. Maybe the NX won't happen now.
You know what else links with that, though? Because remember when they first announced the NX, they said this is not a predecessor or a competitor to their existing handheld or the Wii. And maybe that's it. Maybe it's just an operating system. It's just a system, NX system, the Nintendo's Next, Next network on the Apple platform.
Yeah.
I could see that.
Absolutely. So that's my text here. So I know fanboys will scream and cry. Maybe you'll cut yourself, or maybe you need a hug. I don't know. Or you'll just be in denial, like, no, Nintendo would never stop making hardware. Look, things change. I always say that things change, companies evolve, or they fall. And that's how the free market works. I'm sorry, that's how capitalism works. Like, no company can exist forever, and everybody always goes, oh, they've been around 100 years. Go buy a ticket and fly in Pan Am, or go out and buy some Kodak film. Those companies were around 70, 80 years. They're not around anymore.
Yeah,
They've changed. So Nintendo won't go away, but they will evolve, and they will evolve in a way that we had speculated before, that they will become a second or third party, but exclusive to an Apple platform, and that would allow Apple to get into the video game market a lot easier. If they were the sole place you could get future Nintendo titles, they would clean up, and then the profit sharing with Nintendo, plus every investor for Nintendo, they sprouted a boner when they made Pokemon Go. Imagine what they would do if they partnered with Apple.
Yeah, shit.
Their shares would skyrocket, right? And not only that, like that, you other people working at Nintendo, guys at North Bend, packing the boxes, whatever. Yo, you better be prepared to cry, because that's your job's over, right? They'll mothball all that stuff. That'll be a huge change, but there'll be a huge amount of layoffs if I'm right.
Yo, that's a crazy theory, but the thing is, usually when it comes to your theories about Nintendo, you're usually right. So don't be surprised if something like this happens, because like you said, we have 5 months until the launch of a brand new console. We haven't heard shit. Yeah. What's going on here?
So I mean that definitely makes a lot of sense.
And they haven't really, all these leaks or whatever of like the controller and stuff hasn't really been the console. It's been a controller, which makes sense. It's like, here's a different type of controller, but to work with the new environment that we create.
What if that NX controller that we've been seeing, or some form of it, essentially just becomes a peripheral that you can use on the Apple TV.
Yeah, exactly. Or with the iPad. There's any number of possibilities for that.
Hey, Chris, Daniel actually has a pretty good question. He goes, why would they pigeonhole themselves in with Apple, though?
It's not a pigeonhole. That is a vast market. Daniel, go online and tell me how many customers, iPhone owners and active users are on iOS right now.
Chris, I think what he's saying is, why would they not go multi-plat? And I think you already addressed that with, they hate Sony.
Yes, they don't consider. Look, you're looking from a globalist perspective, right? You wouldn't pigeonhole yourself, right? But any logical company would do that. It's like, we have a wider market if we go multi-plat. If we make games for PlayStation and we make games for Microsoft, they don't think like that. To them, Sony and Microsoft are off limits. They don't exist. So the thing they look at, though, is they want to tap the mobile market. they tap it instantly. They don't have to do any work if they partner with Apple because they instantly get all those customers. You can't tell me if you're already on in Apple's ecosystem, or if you even just have an iPhone or an iPad, that you're not going to pick up a Nintendo game if it was on there.
Yeah, you're thinking of it like a console thing. Think of it in Nintendo's blue ocean strategy.
Yeah.
If they don't want to compete with the other consoles but want to go mobile, that's a perfect way to go mobile, and they might be able to still utilize their gaming branch.
Yeah.
Okay, here's the thing.
So better.
Android is larger than Apple, but Apple has more lockdowns that Nintendo prefers. Android is too open. Nintendo
Android
doesn't
is
like
an
that.
environment, though. Like
Yeah,
Apple is
exactly.
also a hardware manufacturer, and that's what Chris says.
Dude, it doesn't
makes a
matter
lot
if you
of
don't like
sense.
Apple. That's just the truth, man.
But
You saying fuck Apple.
But the thing is that
you know.
that it also can be something that also spreads to Apple computers, too.
Apple computers have never cared about gaming.
Oh, I know they've never cared about gaming, but it is something that can also be. The thing is that who's to say it's like, okay, you already own a computer, an Apple computer. Why can't you just run some of these Nintendo apps on there too?
Right, and this would allow the realization of things that fell to the wayside. Remember, a few E3s ago, Iwata had talked about the Wii Vitality sensor. Remember that was a thing that never happened, never came out. Now that could happen now. I mean, Apple already has a health app, and the watch measures all your biometrics. These are things that could happen now that they don't have to do anything to implement it because Apple's already done the legwork for them. Everything is right there for them. And I'll tell you what, it makes a whole lot of sense. It'll probably make a whole lot of people pissed off, especially Android owners will be especially pissed that they're in Apple's ecosystem. But look at Super Mario Runner, whatever it's called. That's an iOS exclusive. They haven't announced anything for Android because they're not going to. That was a deal with Apple to test the waters. And I bet Tim Cook doesn't fly to Japan for his health. He flew over there for a reason, and it wasn't to take a damn picture. I don't care how rich he is.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Time is money to this man. So they were talking about something major, more major than a fucking runner.
Yeah, he goes. Also, how many TV devices use Android? He's trying to say Android is more viable than Apple.
Yeah, you don't need a TV device because they will market Apple TV to play Nintendo games and people will buy it. You're thinking, I don't know if you're a Nintendo fan or not, but Nintendo fans will gladly, apologists, be prepared to lick two taints. You're only licking one taint right now. You're in Nintendo state. We're ready for that Apple taint, right? You better rehydrate with some Gatorade before this wheel goes down. But you don't realize these guys will buy it. Like Apple will have you buy the nuts, and they will go, hey, you want Nintendo games? You buy Apple TV, hook it up, or you buy an iPad or whatever, and they'll gladly do it. Why? Because that's the only way you're going to get Nintendo games from here on out.
Well, also, you may say, Google is a better place to turn. It's a more viable market, but then, okay, so like, who do you turn to build your phones at that point? Do HTC, Samsung? Apple can produce its own hardware, and that's one thing that Nintendo kind of seems to begrudgingly do just to get their games out there. And Apple hates making games. Like they've just basically, they couldn't have expressed it any better than like, oh God, this shit again. We're going to put in the minimal effort. So it would make sense actually for them to partner up because neither one of them want to do the other one's job.
Right. And the partnering up has been happening already. We've been seeing this coalescing of mobile hardware makers and studios. So Amazon bought Double Helix because they wanted an in-house studio to promote their Fire tablets and their console, right? We already saw Nintendo make a deal with DNA in Japan for mobile stuff. So this is not a far-fetched concept. They were partnering with Apple. They were already testing the waters with Google. This was something my wife told me. When they started to experiment with Pokemon Go, that was them courting Google at that point. But Google wasn't interested in getting into video games probably, so that deal didn't happen, right? So who's the next biggest market? Who's actually probably the biggest market in Japan for mobile? It's Apple.
Yeah, he's saying Samsung, HTC, hundreds of other major handset makers. And the thing is, again, Japan likes Apple, dude. You know,
they're not going
to partner with fucking Samsung. Yeah. They don't like Koreans.
You're missing my point. Apple is manufacturer and distributor.
Yeah,
and overlord czar of their own small ecosystem. So they're developers too.
Yeah, they don't have to to worry about divergent hardware, segmentation that is always a problem in Android. So Nintendo doesn't have to do the legwork of testing in multiple environments. Like I don't have to get a Google Pixel and a Galaxy 7 and the latest HTC and the latest this and test the games against all these systems because they're all segmented. They're all running a different version of Android OS with stuff running on top of it. You don't have to worry about that because iOS is unified. There's one manufacturer, just like Brett said, is Apple. They're all running the same chipsets. They're all running the same graphics hardware. They're all on the same SDK. So it's like a console. You don't have to worry about the segmentation. It's all one platform.
Also, if you're Nintendo and looking at it, you can look at Apple and say, well, they hold the keys to their ecosystem, right? But they're also the ones that can distribute and help build our hardware. So they're really a one-stop shop. Even if you went with any of these other manufacturers, if you went with HTC, you could get them to build your hardware, but then you'd have to partner with Google to go through the distribution network. This is a one-stop shop. It plugs all the holes that Nintendo has. It fills all the gaps in one fell swoop. So that would probably be a better partnership. Less hands in the pie and all that.
Yeah, and I'll finish off with this. I'll summarize this. We can keep discussing if you want, but let me summarize. Let me close this out. Like between Tony, me, Randy, all these guys on the show, I'd say over 80% of the time we've been right about Nintendo's steps.
Yep. From
the time I was able to join the Throwdown up until this point, right? When I left there till this point. And I'll tell you something else. When the year I resigned, when I decided to leave, the writing was on the wall that something was going to go down. I knew they were going to mothball our office. We used to be in New York. We're on Park Avenue. That's where some of sales and marketing and the web and design team were, and I was part of the web and design team, the direct consumer communications as it was called. Mm-hmm. And I told guys the year before that in 2011, I remember telling them because they said, Nintendo took out like a 20-year lease, something ridiculous on the office floor. It used to belong to Bank of New York. Of course, that got eaten by Chase, so they weren't around anymore. They didn't need an office, so Nintendo probably got a good deal on it. 20 years because they were going for longevity. They think, they're full of themselves. So they thought, nothing's going to happen. So that kind of thinking spreads like a virus. It spreads down. So everybody's like, we're not going anywhere. The lease is for 20 years, whatever. And I told them the minute the Wii stops selling, the minute that money starts hemorrhaging out of this company, mm-hmm. This office is going to fold and you're going to have to go work in Redmond. We all will, right? And I knew that was going to happen, and that's why I resigned. And a couple months later, I went over to Rockstar. And guess what happened? I get calls from people, text messages from my former coworkers at Nintendo. People tell me they got walked into a boardroom after Black Friday and told, are you going or throwing? Basically, taking your severance or taking a package to move to Redmond because the office is closing. Right? So I called that one. And ever since then, I've been calling stuff out. Tony's been calling stuff out, whatever. And we've been right. Mm-hmm. And you could say whatever you want. You can do your mental gymnastics, get on a pommel horse, get on the beams and say we're full of shit or we're making stuff up, even though I've thrown out facts at you. I throw statistics out. I've written editorials where I've been right. We've called out, like Tony called out, Zelda was going to be delayed, even though they said it was going to come out in 2015. He and I both said it wasn't going to come out. It was delayed. Still isn't out, even though the game is probably finished. Star Fox, we called that one. I said that 50% of the games on their to be determined list for 2015 weren't going to come out, and I was right. I predicted that Office would close. I was right. So I have a good track record, and I don't have a third eye. I'm not seeing the future, but I read the tea leaves. You read the signs. You read between the lines of what people are saying and doing. Why the hell would the president of Ubisoft just say NX looks interesting? Why would he say all that? Because I read between the lines. It's like he's hedging his bets. He's hedging his bets, so he knew something was going on. So mark my words. And then I want you guys to remember that if this happens, if I'm right about this, and this deal goes through, and Nintendo becomes an Apple developer, whatever, this NX thing is just going to end up on iOS and tvOS or whatever in Apple's ecosystem, I want you to remember where you heard it first. I want you to remember that IGN and Kotaku and all these guys are going to be shocked and chagrined, and they're going to go, whoa, nobody could see this coming. Motherfuckers, I saw it coming, and I told you here first. So you remember that. That's so you come to us for news. So fuck those guys. If I'm right, come over here.
Fuck that. That was fantastic. Chris, thank you for that. You get one of these. So yeah, we'll see about that. Fantastic. Yeah, Daniel, he just doesn't like Apple, dude. I get it. Apple sucks, but Nintendo's not gonna go to anybody else.
I'm not defending Apple either, Daniel. Like, don't even sweat it. I'm not like, oh yeah, Apple. Like, I don't give a shit, right? I don't like it either. Apple pisses me off plenty of times, but this is what this is not about me. It's not about you. It's not about our fifis. This is about what's happening. This is following the patterns and following the money, right? And then if you follow it, you realize that is not out of the realm of reality. That may be the direction they're going in, and don't be surprised.
Yeah, for me, we could be wrong, but we can.
Yeah, I preface it. I'm just making a prediction. I don't know anything.
Yeah, you're not. Hey, Adam, what's the name of that time traveler? He's not that guy,
Oh, Andy,
he's not Andy.
Yes, no.
Andy running for president who time travels. I'm telling people, look that up. Andy2016.com.
Yeah,
here's the thing, though. Just because something has been patented doesn't mean it actually gets made. It just means that they're registering a patent. So those patents that you've been seeing are just possible ideas of what they wanted to do with this. What Chris says that was the maybe going to be a system of idea, but that doesn't exactly mean it actually gets made. There are plenty of patents that have been put out there that don't ever get made.
Oh, and one more thing I forgot to mention. One more tea leaf that I read, that led me to this conclusion is Nintendo's legal fucking war against fan-made games that has happened very recently and very quickly. Very recently and very quickly, they have cleaned up fan games, some of which have been around for years. Projects, websites, downloadable stuff on Steam.
What about that Metroid one? Is that still going on?
No, they shut that down too.
Yeah, they killed that shit.
They killed everything. Pokemon, Uranium. Those were high-profile ones because those were bigger games. But there's hundreds and hundreds of fan games, little Pokemon clones, and all that shit. They knew those games were around. They didn't care, right? Because they didn't have to worry about them because they control the brand. But Apple really controls their brand. If you are on iOS and you do some exclusivity with Apple, you can't be anywhere else. You can't even be on some second-rate game site. That can't be. Why do you think they cleaned that up so fast? It's to make their brand look pristine. They went hog wild with the legal. They filed DCMA claims up the wazoo, shut down sites, had hundreds of games pulled in short order. That only happened in a few weeks.
Something's definitely going on with Nintendo, man. Like, if you look between the lines, read the leaves or whatever, you can definitely see what's going on. I know fanboys don't want to see it. Everything's perfectly fine here. It's like I said, with Nintendo, it always seems like that dude from fucking Iraq. He's like, everything's fine. The fucking city's getting blown up behind him.
Baghdad Bob, man.
Yeah, Baghdad Bob, exactly. Something's going on here. And again,
Baghdad.
when this shit happens, you look back at it. Throwdown episode 105, motherfuckers. We got you. All right, so that is pretty much going to do it for this episode. I know Phantom Vash, I'm going to have to disappoint you a little bit. He wanted me to talk about Shin Godzilla, but we're running a little late here.
Don't forget Clinton Clay. He's Dominican from Mafia.
Yeah. Oh man, we'll get to another time. Very, very annoying. Very, very annoying. I'll stop myself. But I do want to pimp our Gears of War 4 spoiler cast. It's gonna have me, Richard, Reggie's gonna be on it, and one more person that we haven't determined yet. So we're gonna be going full spoilers with that shit. So be on the lookout for that this weekend. Should be pretty cool. Hey Rich, before we leave, do you want to plug anything? Say anything to the fans?
Oh, no, I just want to thank you for having me on this show. This was a fantastic episode. Chris dropped some knowledge. I hope people listen to it. And, Brett also spoke about PlayStation VR. So, yeah, thanks for having me on the show.
Awesome, man. Yeah, anytime, man. You know how it is. All right. So let's wrap this up. Thank you for watching and listening. Make sure to follow the Coalition at thecoalition.com. Also help support the site by donating to the Patreon page. Subscribe to Throwdown, SoundCloud, iTunes, and YouTube. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook and Twitter at Throwdown Show. Links are available in the description below. Once again, our show is Tony Polanco and joined by Emilio Lopez.
I'll see you later, guys. And don't forget to pick up Mosaic, which is out now. Came out on Wednesday. We did a signing, and actually next week, me and Kari Randolph are going to be doing another signing because that's the way we roll.
And we may have Kari on Throwdown next week too.
Yes, that's right there. So it's gonna be Wednesday. It's gonna be Wednesday. We're doing the signing. Thursday is gonna be on Throwdown. That's the Mosaic World Tour.
Yes,
which is only in New York.
All right, Chris Seeley. Go ahead, man. What you got, man? You dropping bombs, man?
Man, I also gotta say, like the other book that I've been working on for months since March has just been announced, which is Armory Wars by Coheed and Cambria. For those of you who know that band they're a progressive rock group, but the book is based off of their concepts that they make all of their albums on. So that's going to be out next year. It just got announced, which was very exciting. So good stuff.
Nice. And we also had the man with the knowledge, Chris Seeley.
Hey, take care, everyone.
Carlos Romero.
Laters.
Brett Murdock.
It's been real, people.
Adam Vale.
Go watch them Lucha Underground. I keep promoting them. If they're listening, yeah, I'm telling you, Lucha.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, because Kristen just texted me. Right? Nobody. I don't know, man. Like, hold on. Let me see what's going on with this contest. Like, nobody said anything. Yeah, you know what? We're not giving shit to anybody this week. You guys just
That's it. Funk that.
Fuck you guys. And of course, Richard Bailey Jr.
Oh yeah, later, guys.
Yo, I don't know what we're gonna do with these fucking codes. We'll give them away or something. Who knows?
We'll figure
You gotta comment, man.
Hey! If you said you were giving away Gears of War 4, then everybody would be like, "Oh yeah, let me get that code."
Yeah, nobody wants.
We should have said that. We should have said that, and then give them the code, and then when they unlock the code, like, what the fuck is
Nobody wants those crusty ass Gears of War. So
hey man, if nobody's using it, I still have a Halo Xbox sitting in my living room. I can on that shit. Oh wait,
you could.
Would I be able to get it on my computer?
No, they don't have backward compatibility on my PC.
That doesn't matter. I got an Xbox in the living room.
Yeah. All right, people. We'll see you next time. Throw out your questions.
Next time.
Peace.
Later.
Peace.